You know, it's like if you are left an inheritance, you know that this is reserved, this is given to you, this is dedicated for you. So all of us here within the sound of my voice has a place reserved for us in heaven. And First Peter 2 and verse, well, I'm sorry, First Peter 2 and verse 9.
But ye are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood, and holy nation, a peculiar people, that ye should show forth the praises of him who had called you out of darkness into his marvelous light.
Okay, praise the Lord. So we heard this morning as my husband was telling you that we are royalty. So shake hands with the person next to you. Shake hands with royalty. If you've never shaken hands with royalty before, shake hands with royalty now. And now you have shaken because you are a chosen generation, a royal priesthood. You're special. You have a place reserved for you in heaven. Okay? And what else? Read Revelations 1 and verse 6. What does Revelation 1 and verse 6 tells us?
And had made us kings and priests unto God and his Father.
Okay.
To him be glory and dominion forever and ever.
Amen. So God has made us kings and queens. As my husband was telling you this morning, we are peculiar people. We should be different. People should be able, when we walk on the street, should be able to see or know that there's something different about us just from the way we look, just from the way we dress, just from the way we are. And you know, there's a, I can't remember what's the religion that's in your Church of God. When you're in Honduras, you know the women that are Church of God because they're all clothed. They have their hair is natural. You know that these women are different. And we don't have to be to that extent, but we should look different. You know, I had an experience one time. I was at work and I got off the elevator and this young lady came up to me and she says to me, "You're a Christian, right?" And I was taken back because I didn't know her. And I said yes. And she said, "You know, I saw you come off the elevator and God just told me to ask you to pray for me. You're a Christian, right?" Now, where would that come? And I did pray with her at the time, but what was it that would be different that she would just say that that person's a Christian? I don't know. Where I'm dressed, the Spirit of God. I think the Spirit of God. She said God told her to ask me to pray. But I think that that's how we should be. Something should be different about us as children of God. Now, here goes why we are the target. Revelations 12 and verse 9. Revelations 12 and verse 9.
Revelation 12 verses 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him.
Okay, so he was in heaven, the place where we're scheduled to go. And he knows what we have to look forward to, that he and his angels will never, ever be able to look forward. The place that's now reserved for us. The place that's now reserved for us. Do you think he wants us to go where he was? Okay, so that is it. So Revelation 12 and verse 17 tells us now. Revelation 12 and verse 17.
Thank you. And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed, which keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
Okay, that do what? Two things. Keep the commandments of God and have the testimony of Jesus Christ. So this is an end time church that that Satan is focused on. He's focused on that remnant, right? It says it. So what is the testimony of Jesus Christ? What is the testimony? We know what keeping the commandments of God are, right? What are the commandments of God? No, what are the commandments of God? The commandments of God are what? I'm sorry. The commandments. The commandments of God are the 10 commandments, right? So this is in Revelation now. And it says, and has the testimony of Jesus Christ. Let's read Revelation 19 and verse 10. You know, the Bible tells you itself. What is the testimony of Jesus Christ? Revelation 19 and verse 10.
And I fell at his feet to worship him. And he said unto me, See thou do it not. I am thy fellow servant, and of the brethren that have the testimony of Jesus. Worship God, for the testimony of Jesus is the spirit of prophecy.
So a spirit of prophecy. So God's end time church has two things. Keep the commandments of God and has the spirit of prophecy. The spirit of prophecy is a gift that is given to the remnant church by God. A gift that is given. And with that gift, not only comes a privilege, but comes an awesome responsibility. And what is that responsibility that the church has? And to share what it is that we know, right? And to share what it is. So let's go on and let's look here. When we're looking at, and going back to the story that I needed to share with you, I started to wonder, okay, I looked at all these different people, Dr. Daly, Meat Ministry, from Meat Ministry, the Dawson, all these, and I started to look and I said, Lord, what is it? And I started to pray, how is it? There must be something, some connection. What is it that is going on that these individuals that are into health, now I know some of them personally, and I know as far as I know, it's not like they're saying one thing and doing something else. They're actually talking the talk and walking the walk. So what is it? I prayed about it, and I prayed about it, and you know, God always answers prayer. And in my mind, I started to think, well, it must be something that we're doing that's not right. Anyway, most of you know me before and you've seen me, and you know I do natural remedies talks and stuff, right? And usually I do every year. We have a breakfast. We have a prayer breakfast for breast cancer every October at the Elmont Temple Church. I usually talk every year, like for the last 3 years now, and I talk about natural remedies. And they have people from the hospital that talks about conventional treatment. And about 2 years ago, I did the talk in October. Then the very next month, I was diagnosed with breast cancer. I was shocked. I was like, how could this be? And I know the 8 laws of health, and to be honest with you, I know some of those laws. I work nights, that's violating one of the laws. I needed to get some weight off of my body, that was one. But you see, God said to me, and at the time, being a nurse, I don't know if you know, I've been a nurse for over 33 years. Being a nurse in my mind, the first thing I thought about, and even though we do all these natural things, I went to the doctor, and of course, the doctor's going to give you conventional medicine. They suggested, he said, okay, if you do a lumpectomy, that it was small, you could do a lumpectomy, but if you do a lumpectomy, you have to do radiation. They recommended, and I didn't want to have any radiation because it was on my left side. What's right behind your breast on the left side? So what they don't tell people that are not in the medical profession and don't know is that when they give you that radiation, then it weakens your heart, and then you end up with heart problems. So I didn't want to do that. So his suggestion then was to have a mastectomy. They were even talking about a double mastectomy, just to be sure, okay? So actually I said initially, I gave in and I scheduled to have the mastectomy. And then the Lord started to talk to me, and he said, you go around all the time teaching people about natural remedies and my way of doing things, and now you're going to follow the conventional way? Don't go and cut off your breast. So I called the doctor back and I said, you know what? I don't want to do the mastectomy. I want to do a lumpectomy because I do believe, and as a nurse, I believe that there's an even mixture. You have to go both ways. God made doctors and nurses and gave us knowledge too, and I think you have to do both, do a combination of both. So because I believe that if you have cancer and they can take it out your body, you should go that route. So I decided I would do the lumpectomy. However, he told me if you do a lumpectomy, you're going to have to do radiation. Now, little did he know, I wasn't planning on doing any radiation, but I didn't let him know that because I didn't want him to say, well, I'm not going to do that anyway. However, because I changed the date of my surgery, I was scheduled for 4 months later. The original date was supposed to be in January, and it wasn't going to be able to have the surgery until March. Now, meanwhile, we weren't married. You can imagine what he's going through because his first wife died from breast cancer, and here he is now engaged to another woman that now has been diagnosed with breast cancer. And even that, the day, you know, God was in everything because that particular day, I remember he wasn't supposed to come over, and he came over, and after he came over, the doctor called me. It was about 12:30. The doctor called me and told me that I had an 11 o'clock appointment that I missed, and they were waiting for me. No doctor waits for you an hour, waiting to give you the results. I said to him, this is not normal. No doctor's going to wait for you an hour and a half if there's not something wrong. They're going to just tell you, I'm going to reschedule you. He said, no, don't think that way. Anyway, God in his mercy had it that way so that he would be with me when I got the news. And it was quite shocking at the time. So we went, and of course, when I went in, the doctor said she was sorry that she had to say that they did find some cancer cells. Anyway, getting back to my original story, when I called the doctor and I decided not to have the mastectomy, to have the lumpectomy instead, that particular surgeon that I wanted, I had to wait 4 months. So what I did during that 4 months is I called on the Lord and I tested him. I said, Father, you told me to go this route, and you told me that this sickness is not unto death, but for my glory. So I was already vegan, vegetarian. However, the things that I'm going to share with you today, I didn't know, and the Lord revealed to me. And when I started making those changes and getting these things out of my diet, in addition, I did other things also. Everything that I could think of. You heard this morning that I'm working on my doctorate in naturopath medicine. The school that I'm going to has a specific protocol. I used their protocol plus everything else that I knew. So I only ate, number one, foods that came straight from God. Did it come from a bush, a tree, a vine? I only drank water. I cut out all sugar out of my diet. I use essential oils. I use frankincense and myrrh. I didn't put anything on my body that I could not put in my mouth, because people forget that your body, your skin, is the largest organ. And when you put deodorants and lotions and stuff that contain poisonous things, your body absorbs those things, and those things can eventually lead to cancer. So anyway, during that time, everybody kept saying, how come? I didn't tell a lot of people, and I'll tell you why. Because I didn't want anyone to discourage me and to tell me, oh, you should do this, or you should do that. I wanted to do what it was that the Lord wanted me to do. Now, my focus wasn't really in trying to lose weight, but when I made the changes and cut certain things out my diet, automatically the weight just came off. You asking about losing weight? I'll share with you. And in 4 months, I actually lost 40 pounds effortlessly. So at the end, I went and I got the surgery. I had the lumpectomy done. And of course, after the lumpectomy, they were going to do the radiation. So I had to wait at least 1 week, they told me, to get the results, the pathology report, to see what stage it was and everything else. So I waited 1 week. I called the doctor. The nurse said, well, your results are in. The doctor should call you anytime. No response. Second week, nothing. Third week, I called back again, and I said, I called, and you said the results were in. The doctor still hasn't called me. She said, I'm going to make sure that he calls you. Call them back again. Now, the fourth week, the doctor calls me, and he said, well, Mrs. Evans, we did the lumpectomy. It was good. We did your pathology report. There was nothing in the edges. There was nothing in the margins. There was nothing in your lymph nodes. A matter of fact, we did not find any cancer cells. God's way is the way. You see, I prayed and I said, Lord, show me why is it? And he showed me the things I'm going to share with you. And I cut those things out of my diet, and I changed my lifestyle. And you know what is good? You know why I'm still glad I did it the way I did? Because I have paper proof. It's not my word against your word. And you know what they did? They put an addendum to the original report because the doctors were so baffled. They were like, because I told them what I was going to do, and the doctor told me straight out that, I wouldn't do that, that's not going to work. And even after he finished telling me they found no cancer cells, he's going to refer me to a radiologist. I said, for what? Why would I need to go to a radiologist if there's no cancer? You see how, I hate to say, but some of it is about money, and if the person is not smart enough or don't have enough knowledge that would follow them. So then again, so he said, well, no, you really don't need radiation because there was nothing found, but I'll refer you to a oncologist. So I said, okay, I don't want to seem like, I went to the oncologist, and she suggested, I can't remember the name of the medication because it was something new. It's a cancer doctor, a doctor that specializes in cancer. That's okay. I have no problem with that. I think, you need to get clarified. So I went to the oncologist, and meanwhile, there was other thing I need to tell you. I took some herbs. I took a herbal chemo during that time. Those 4 months also, there were certain herbs that I took every day that are herbal chemos, that these herbs target and kill just the cancer cells. They leave your good cells alone. I took that. I'm still taking it, tell you the truth. I take the same dose that I took then. So the doctors were baffled, still baffled. So I said, well, one out of two things happen. Either you made a mistake or the regime that I did worked. Either way, they're not in good view, right? So they kind of left it alone. They kind of been leaving it alone. And the oncologist now tells me that she thinks that I should take, I forget what the medication is, the side effect of the medication, nausea and vomiting, bone pain. I said, wait. What does this medication do? She says the medication will cut the estrogen in your body. I said, well, two things. Now, one, I'm postmenopausal, so my estrogen is going to be lower. And two, if I lost weight, I know that estrogen is fat soluble. So would that not also bring down my estrogen? She said, yes. I said, well, that's what I'll be doing. Yes, that's what I'll be doing. And that is, and I'm still in the process. I know people say, oh, you don't need to lose more weight. But I know for me, I need to lose more weight because it's about my health and it's about the glorifying the Lord. So now going back to, I like to tell my story because when I do this presentation, I notice I've done it both ways. I've done it by giving my testimony at the end, and I've done it by giving my testimony at the beginning. I like to do it by giving my testimony at the beginning because people know that I know what I'm talking about. Okay? I know what I'm talking about. Now, it was risky, people would say, but I'll tell you something, to be honest with you, and I know my husband doesn't like when I say this, and my other friends, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm not afraid of dying. All of us have to die at some point in time. A matter of fact, I believe the person that dies in Christ is better off that we are that are still in this struggle. Because they go to sleep and the next thing they know, they wake up and Jesus has come back. So I'm not going to do anything because they can't use fear dying on me. Because if I'm going to die, I'd rather die with dignity and respect and a good quality of health. But the Lord had spoken to me and had told me, this sickness is not unto death, but for my glory. Do you know that some sickness that people have is for God's glory? Do you remember the man that was deaf and mute? What did he say? It was for his glory. And sometimes God brings sickness and disease upon us for his glory. And that's what he told me. Excuse me? The blind. And also Lazarus. The death of Lazarus was for his glory. So let's look on and we see the deadly deceptions in the health food aisle. Okay, that's me. And it says RN, but I'm more proud of being a medical missionary. You know, those of you that can take the medical missionary class, I believe it was the best class that I have ever taken. And I've done a lot of schooling, the best class I've ever taken, because it's a life-changing class. It's not just about, which I thought, learning about the different herbs and natural remedies. It is actually a class for the end time. It brings you and draws you closer to the Lord. You'll never be the same again. So any medical, matter of fact, I know they're planning on having one in Brooklyn coming up in August, and we're having one in Staten Island in June. If you can make either one of those and make the sacrifice of the time, it is definitely life-changing, and it's an end-time work. But again, it's a spiritual thing. It's not for any and everyone. It's for those that want to embrace God's health message and use it as an evangelistic tool. Welcome, my sister. Now, my other sister here, I just want to say hello to my friend Sharon here. Sharon, could you stand up? I know that I don't want to embarrass you. This is a lovely lady. You know, as a medical missionary, how many of you have ever heard of CCC? You ever heard of Christian Cultural Center? Yes. Well, we go to Christian Cultural Center. They haven't had a health fair in the last 2 years, but I met this lovely lady there. And she is such a spirit-filled person. We had conversations. We had an 8 weeks to wellness class. She came there. She came to my wedding. And I'm telling you, whenever there was one time I was really down, and she just shared such inspiration with me. There's such a connection. Hadn't talked to her, seen her in a long time. She called the other day and said, what are you guys doing? And I told her I was going to be doing this presentation here. She said, well, I can't come the whole day, but I'm going to come in the evening. And here she is. So make sure, this is that very warm, loving church. Make sure she feels the New Jerusalem love, okay? All right. So getting back now to, we read the scriptures of reading. So we see that from the scriptures, the reason why the enemy is so against us. What else do you think he is against us? You know, we're God's heart. When we suffer, when we're in pain, when there's fighting, when there's strife, when there's disunity, it hurts him. That's why the enemy is so against us, you know. He's against us, trying to get to us so that he can get to Jesus and God, cause them hurt and pain. You know, if somebody hurts your child, it hurts you, right? Yes, so it's the same thing. Okay. So now going back to the spirit of prophecy, this was written by Ellen White, and this came from Testimonies. And this was what Ellen White saw in vision. She saw Satan gathered his fallen angels together, and they were to devise some way of doing the most possible harm to the human family. One proposition after another was made until finally Satan himself thought of a plan. He would take the fruit of the vine, also wheat, and other things given by God as food, and would convert them into poisons, which would ruin man's physical, mental, and moral powers, and so overcome the senses that Satan would have full control. So if Satan is doing what to the food? Are we seeing that now? He is poisoning the food. You know, there's a video that you can watch. It's actually called A Poisoned World. And this quote was taken from Temperance chapter 2, right there in that section 12.2, if you want to read it yourself, which I recommend. Anything I tell you today, don't take it from me. Go and Google it, get the information, study it yourself, know for yourself. Don't say, well, Sister Evans said, or Sister McBride, I'm sorry. I'm still so used to Sister Evans. Sister McBride said, study it for yourself, okay? So we're going to look at, so the battle is for, okay, let's see. So the battle is for, he wants to overcome the senses, so that what? The battle is for control of your mind. Because as my husband mentioned this morning, how does God communicate with us? Through the mind, the frontal lobe. And the things that we eat affect our ability to think and internalize certain things. So it's not by chance that certain food additives are being added into our food. It is calculated by the enemy so that little things, little, we can get control of our minds. So some dangerous food additives, okay? Look at those things that are up there. Any of those things look familiar to you? Any of those things you thought in the past were healthy or good? Isn't yogurt healthy? Especially low-fat yogurt? It's a trick of the devil. The dinner roast, isn't dinner roast better than eating red meat? Or chicken or fish, isn't it better? It's a deadly deception. Okay, we're going to look. These are just a few food additives. Few. This is a very, very small amount. These are some of them. Let's read them together. What's the first one? Okay. And we're gonna focus on MSG today, because MSG is in just about everything. And we're going to see how it affects the mind. And what's the next one? And what is that? Who knows what that is? What is another common name for that? Sweet and low, NutraSweet, Equal. All of those artificial sweeteners are all aspartame. Okay? High fructose corn cereal, partially hydrogenated oils, food dyes, hydrogenated vegetable protein. What's that? Hydrogenated vegetable proteins. Concentrated proteins like gluten, soy protein, nitrates, sulfites, and sodium benzoids. Okay? So we're going to look at monosodium glutamate. What is MSG? MSG is an amino acid used as a flavor enhancer in soups, salad dressings, and you need to salad dressings, almost every single salad dressing, unless you make it yourself, contains MSG. Even these potato chips for your children. Parents, do not give your kids chips. These goldfish, all these little things, these Cheez-It, all these things that we think are good for children, but adults don't eat it. Don't give your kids those things, because on children, it's even worse, because children's minds are developing and they have more permanent damage when it comes to eating these kind of foods. Give your children apples, oranges, natural things that come from God. All of those processed and refined things, you are doing your child a great disservice by giving them those kind of things. They're not a treat. Any kind of frozen entrees, even frozen diet dishes, vegetarian meats, and many other processed and restaurant foods. Okay, all of those things up there contain MSG. And I have to tell you, you know, the Lord really opened my mind, because some of the things, when I do this lecture, I used to tell people, okay, this is not good to have, but this is good to have. Some of the things that I thought were good to have, for instance, I'm going to stop for a second, and I'm going to let you, so this is something, any of you ever heard of dulse? Any of you ever heard of dulse or kelp? Okay, kelp. Well, dulse on kelp is, dulse is a name. That's actually a sea vegetable, okay? And it says on here it's organic, USDA organic, and it's a salt alternative. And I use this quite often. I use it on a regular basis because it gives things kind of like a fishy flavor. I used to make my vegan ackee and codfish with it, and it would taste really, really good. One morning I used to tell people, okay, you can use this as a substitute. One Friday, I got up in the morning, and it was supposed to be a Sabbath. I was doing a presentation. And the Lord just said, go read that. Go read the label. And I'm like, but I've been using this for years now, and it's good. I know there's nothing wrong on there. But he said again, the Holy Spirit said, go read that label. And I did. And I just want you to read what it says here, where it says California warning. Just stand up and read it to them. The fine print on the bottom. This is California warning.
California warning. This product contains heavy metal known as from the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects by other reproductive harm. For more information, yes.
So it says on here, when I went to go read it, California warning. This product contains heavy metals known to the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. For more information, right. Now my question is this. If it causes cancer in California, is it not going to cause cancer in New York? You know, the difference is in California, they have a law that if there's anything in the food that is dangerous or carcinogenic, they have to let the person know and put it on the label. So God himself showed me this. We have to be a people that go back to reading labels. Now, where did I buy this? In a health food store. Health Emporium. And what it says here, organic. We think that if something says organic, that is good. But remember, we have salt alternative. We're living in an age of deadly deception. Now I said, okay, I read this one, but I also have the dulse in the package. So let me go and read and see what that says. Now, okay, I've been using this. Maybe it was just that particular brand. When I looked on here, the same thing in fine print down here. California warning. This product contains heavy metals known in the state of California to cause cancer and birth defects or other reproductive harm. You can see it there. Read it there yourself. I'm going to let you guys see for yourselves. Just make sure I get these back. Look on here. Importance of reading. You can have one. You can have one, pass it down. Reading labels in the fine print, okay? That's one thing. The other thing that the Lord shared with me, and I'm gonna go on a little bit more, but reading labels is essential. Essential. We have to read our labels. How many of you? There's also I know some people didn't get the list that was handed out earlier. When I tell you to, it's in the is it there? Okay. All right. Not yet. I'll tell you when. Okay. All right. So, what is it that's so bad about MSG? MSG is known as an excitotoxin. So, excito and toxin, you put those two words together. What does that sound like to you? Who can tell me what they think an excitotoxin, just based on the word excito and toxin? That's who said a poison? An excited poison, right? Because excited means something that's like excited, and a toxin is a poison, right? And that's exactly what an excitotoxin does. It's a substance which causes the brain and nerve cells to become very excited. But the only thing is this: there are glutamate receptors not only in the brain and the nervous system, but all throughout the body. This doesn't focus on that. So it's not just we're focusing this because I'm talking about the brain. But remember that throughout your body, there's glutamate sites that they can affect your heart. It can affect your kidneys. It can affect your liver. Anywhere it can be affected if you're taking in high glutamate. So what happens is that the nerve cells become very excited and they start firing their impulses rapidly. They fire so rapidly that the cell becomes exhausted and die. Now you remember, I don't know if any of you remember from your science classes, when you have neurotransmitters that go out, right? And then there's supposed to something stop those neurotransmitters after a while. But when you have MSG in place, that doesn't happen. So it's like if you're running and 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 running, what's going to happen after a while? You're going to drop dead. Do you ever see these kids nowadays and the kids that they're saying are hyperactive and they can't sit still? Look at their diets. I guarantee you it's going to be high in MSG. But I'll tell you why parents don't know, because it's hidden now. Manufacturers are well aware of the knowledge, so they don't call it MSG anymore. So this occurs over approximately 1 hour of time. If you take some brain cells and you put them in a petri dish and expose them to excitotoxins, the cells start firing extremely fast. They look perfectly healthy, but then at about an hour, they suddenly die. And I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, I don't know if you can see in this picture. Okay, over here. Let me see. Oh, because of the light? The switch is behind you. Okay, all right, okay. So anyway, the cell up here in the upper left-hand corner, I just want to show, that's what normal, that's a cell that's been exposed to high levels of MSG. It starts to swell immediately. And that what happens is after an hour, the cell, it shrinks, and then it starts to dissolve away. It starts to be eaten up. It's called lysis. But what happens when you do lower levels of MSG, the cell still dies, but it's a different form, so you don't feel it right away. It looks normal, and an hour later it looks normal, and then 2 hours it just starts to die like that. So it's like a slow poison. It's not like cyanide that you take and then within an hour or two after. It's a slow, slow death of your cells. Okay? Now, studies show that regular consumption of MSG and other excitotoxins, which is also the aspartame that we mentioned, can alter the way the brain is formed during development. Very important for pregnant women to make sure they watch what they're eating and not put these excitotoxins into their system, because their children's brain. Do you ever notice that people now are just born differently? There's no love for one another. There's no commitment. It's harder to discipline. It goes back to the food. It goes back to what we saw in the beginning. They're eating poisoned food that's poisoning and that's affecting the children. Particularly children are sensitive to MSG. Okay, and this was done by Dr. Russell Baylock. He's the one that actually wrote this book and where I got a lot of my research from. It's called Excitotoxins, The Taste That Kills. He also wrote another book about health and nutrition secrets that talks about eliminating those things from our diet in order to be healthier. And he said that some neuroscientists that are exposed to those powerful compounds early in life, so this is, they say, if the children early in life are exposed to MSG and aspartame, they cause developmental brain defects that could produce learning difficulties and behavioral problems as the child grows older. There's also some evidence that it can contribute to violent behavior as well. And they actually did a study in the prison system where they actually took away processed food from prisoners, which would have a lot of MSG, and they gave them fruits and vegetables and nuts and grains, and they saw that the level of violence and actually went down. Okay, so the negative effects of excitotoxins are not just limited to small children. There's growing evidence that excitotoxins play a major role in a whole group of degenerative brain diseases in adults and especially the elderly. This one is going to go kind of fast. I'll have to bring it back. Okay, so what are these disorders? Okay, you have Parkinson's disease. Have you been seeing an increase in Parkinson's disease? Alzheimer's disease, Huntington's disease, ALS, which is what Mr. Dawson died from. You know, this is what gave me the idea to look to see what's the common denominator behind all of these individuals that are coming down with all the sickness and diseases of the world, including myself. Chronic fatigue syndrome, as well as several other disorders of the nervous system. Okay, so one of the yes, it's right up here. It's right here. And a lot of times people say to me, oh, well, I saw this on 3ABN. Oh, well, I got it in the ABC store. Why? They're deceived too. It's a deadly deception in the health food aisles. What is deception? Deception is making that which looks good something that is really not good. If you could easily tell, then it wouldn't be a deception. Deception is because it looks so good, the counterfeit looks so good, but it's a deception. Because in order for them to make this, you see, the thing that in the conclusion that I told my husband that I've come to, man cannot improve on what God has given us. If in doubt, I throw it out. I don't even go there. Because the thing that God does is he gives us freedom of choice. I tell everybody, I'm giving you this lecture, I'm sharing the information with you, but it's up to you then to make the decision as to what you need to do. God himself showed me this, and my responsibility is to share it with you. I'm not going to get upset if you don't make any changes, but I've done my part. I've done my part. Well, I'm going to show you, and that's why I had there all these are deceptions straight from the spirit of prophecy. We're told that we should not be ingesting vinegar. Even though anything you can use vinegar with, you can actually use lemon or lime without the negative effects. I'm going to see if you could find it in here. I think it's in this one. The vinegar. Yeah. You see, the other thing is that we don't read. We've been given all this information in Ministry of Healing, Counsels that Died in Food. I told you that spirit of prophecy is a gift that has been given. Hey, baby girl. Nice to see you. Has been a gift that has been given to us. But what do we do with that gift? We don't want that. I don't know that. So what? Dr. Oz and all these other people that we then turn and follow that got their information from us. We had the original. Again, though, I don't get mad with people because that, again, is the deception of the enemy. Deception of the enemy. Because he knows that when we embrace this health message that he has given us, the communication with us is going to be so great and with God. He doesn't want that. So I even asked one time, and you know, we come around to all different kinds of churches, Adventist churches, non-Adventist churches. The non-Adventists accept this more than Adventists. Non-Adventists, you tell them eggs have high cholesterol. That's what's causing your cholesterol to go up. Oh, that's what's causing it? I'll cut that out. Adventists, you mean I can't have a piece of cheese? Oh, Jesus ate fish. And I'm like, why is that? Why is that? Why is that, you know? And it's because, you know, the enemy does not want you to make changes so that you can have a better connection with the Father. So you think it's your own thoughts. It's not your own thoughts. But stop and think about it. If God loved you so much that he gave his son to die on the cross so that you may be able to gain eternity, what is it if he tells you don't eat this or don't eat that? He loves you. Okay, let me read here. I'm going to take a, go ahead. And read. We're going to read about the vinegar.
Used as a condiment, says when it's used as a condiment, apart from its flavor, which many find disagreeable, Vinegar does not provide any nutritive or dietary benefit. It does not facilitate digestion or improve absorption of other nutrients the way lemon do. To the contrary, vinegar and pickle foods prepared with it have several drawbacks. Pickle foods become tough due to the protein coagulation caused by the acetic acid, which makes their digestion more difficult. It erodes dental enamel. It breaks the mucous barrier that protects the mucous membrane of the stomach and causes gastritis. As it passes through the bloodstream, it causes anemia due to hemolysis, destruction of the red blood cell. Although some claim healing property for apple cider vinegar, there is no scientific evidence to confirm it.
Apple cider vinegar is a deadly deception and a trick of the enemy. Yes. Anything that you can use apple cider vinegar for, and I wanted to read it from our Spirit of Prophecy, I'll find it. But anything you could use apple cider vinegar for, you can use lemon to do the same thing, except it would have the benefits. But apple cider vinegar is alcohol gone bad. We know that we shouldn't have alcohol, right? So it's even worse than alcohol. It actually, if you're anemic, it's the worst thing to take because it actually prevents the absorption of iron from the small intestinal tract. And as you hear, it also causes your red blood cells to burst or lyse. So it's something that we should not. It's a deception of the enemy. My darling, all of these things here came from my cabinet. So I am where you were. I am here to tell you that this is what the Lord showed me as a result of what I prayed and asked. Why is this? Because people are doing things that they think are healthy and they're not. But if we were really following what God had given us, He told us in the Spirit of Prophecy that we should not ingest vinegar. But you see, the thing is that we're not reading. And then when we do read, we don't believe. We don't embrace it. But God loves you. He doesn't want you to suffer. He doesn't want you to be sick. And He gives, as I mentioned this morning, and we were talking in Sabbath school, God tells you don't do something, and then when you do it, we say God punishes. No, He didn't punish you. God's all of His laws, His 10 Commandments laws, His health laws are all laws of love. They're laws of love. That's why we need to adhere to them. And we're living in days now, if you're not following the health message, if you're still eating the things that God tells us not to eat, we're still way beyond that. We should be on a plant-based diet. And beyond the plant-based diet, we have to even be looking now for processed foods that have these other additives that are actually causing us to be sick. Give her, let them hear this. Hold on. Where do you have the other mic? You have it? Oh, okay. I think that one is on.
Yeah, apple cider vinegar, when you consume it, it kills the good bacteria in your stomach and give you ulcers and acid stomach, everything. Is not, we should never introduce that to our stomach.
There you go.
Ourselves.
Thank you.
Because it's poison and it's made with rotten apples, which give us cancer.
Rotten apples, yes.
It gives cancer, all type of diseases. You think you are cleaning yourself? No, you are destroying.
It's a trick of the enemy. It's a deadly deception.
Yeah.
And it says here, this is from the Spirit of Prophecy, pickles and vinegar. In this fast age, the less exciting the food, the better. The less exciting food, the what? We need to, who said simple? That's it. KISS. Keep it simple. The Lord has impressed that upon my mind. I'm going to go. Keep our foods as simple as possible. Why do you need a meat substitute? If we're going back to be preparing for heaven, did Adam and Eve had meat substitutes? No, they ate the food in the form in which God gave it to them. That's what God is telling me all the time. Go back to my way. It says here about pickles and vinegar. In this fast age, the less exciting the food, the better. Condiments are injurious in their nature. Mustard, pepper, spices, pickles, and other things of like character irritate the stomach and make the blood feverish and impure. What did my husband tell you this morning about health? Perfect health, perfect blood, right? You need to have good blood. Vinegar makes your blood not good.
Also,
set you up for sickness and disease.
Also, if you take a piece of chicken bone, and you soak it in vinegar for 24 hours, the next day the chicken bone will be like a rubber. You can wrap it around your finger because it destroys the bone. And so if you put it inside of you for a long period of time, it'll do the same thing for your bones.
You had a question?
What about, because I actually use it for a mask, like the apple cider vinegar. So is that the same? Like
No, you can use it externally.
Okay.
Actually, if you have like a fungus, you could use it to clean.
Okay.
You could even use it medicinally. There's some cases where medicinally that you can use it, but it should not be something that's consumed on a regular basis.
Okay.
Because it helps kill fungus. It can help clear up your skin. Some things should not be ingested in your body. Okay.
'Cause I don't know. I don't eat or use apple cider vinegar often, but other than the mask or maybe to clean like the.
Right, but don't
Yeah.
ingest it. Don't
Okay,
ingest
thank
it,
God.
okay? Yeah, and then we're going to go on to the next slide. Okay. Go ahead. Okay.
Yes, we can use apple cider vinegar as medicine, but outside of the body. For example, if you have someone who have a high fever, you buy the organic one, then you take a little towel, and then you soak it in it. But you have to have a bottle of hot water because it's going to make you feel very cold, and you get a sponge bath with it.
Instead of alcohol, it's better than alcohol.
Remove the fever right away.
So you can use it. I see a hand back there. And it would be nice if you guys back there could come forward. You had a question? Come on forward. Okay.
It's a good toner for the skin.
Yes,
So
that's
it's
what she
good
said she used on her
externally,
face.
And because I use it externally as well, and it's good for the hair. So it's a good clarifier for your hair to clean your scalp. So it's very good for that. Also, it's good to soak it in, soak newspaper, pieces of newspaper in it for a sprain and put it on the affected area. It's also good for that.
You could use it externally, yes. So let's go on here. It says one of the things that MSG does is affect the neurological pathways of the brain and disengages the full function, which explains the effect of weight gain. The dangers and prevalence of MSG are shocking. So now, we've seen in this country more and more people are getting bigger and bigger and bigger. I remember as a little girl in Barbados, I know I have two fellow Bajans here, I don't ever remember seeing no fat person. And if you did see them, they were called fatty or something, and I mean, they didn't take offense by it, but everybody was slim. But then again, we did not have all these food additives. My grandmother went out in what was called a kitchen garden. That was her spices. We didn't have all these things that have MSG and everything. My grandmother was one of the best cooks in the village. People used to come from all around. Did not have all these things. We need to go back to that. Using your thyme, your garlic, stay away, your scallion. Stay away from all these man-made products because they all contain hidden MSG. So you're seeing people are getting larger and larger. Not to say that, and somebody said I had advertised it, people get big because they don't diet and exercise. They don't. But what happens with MSG, as we mentioned before, there's something called leptin that's supposed to work in your brain to let you say, okay, I'm full now. When you take MSG, it disengages that. So even after the person eats, they still might feel hungry or peckish. They want to eat. And they know they shouldn't be eating because they just ate. How could they be hungry? But that mechanism in the brain has been disengaged. That's why a lot of people are familiar with Chinese food. You remember years ago, everybody knows you eat Chinese food and then an hour later you still feel hungry? That's the mechanism in MSG. But now MSG is in more than just Chinese food. Okay, we're going to get ready for the video after this slide. We're going to do the video, the one about MSG and cancer. So I'm going to get your question. The flavor enhancer is also linked to a host of health issues, including obesity, as we saw in that gentleman, fibromyalgia, fatty liver, high blood sugar, high cholesterol, metabolic syndrome, liver toxicity, high blood pressure, disturbance to the gut-brain connection, neurological brain damage, and cancer. Okay? We can get that, can we get the clip that has about MSG and cancer? We can put that clip on, and then I'll take your question while he's getting that ready. Yeah. Molasses is okay. But I'm going to tell you honest to God truth. Man cannot do anything for me. If God didn't make it, I don't need it. That's my own personal effect right now because there's so much deception right now. If I don't know, I'm not going to take a chance with it. Like I told the person that was reading that, if a manufacturer tells you that it causes cancer, I'm going to believe them. You had a hand? And you know what? I'm so glad that you shared that because some people, and I call it a blessing, are blessed to feel the negative effects of MSG because when they feel the negative effects, they stay away from it. But everybody that takes it has that same negative effect. Just some people do not feel it. But everybody that takes it, that destroying their cells that we saw, it happens to everyone. Those that actually have the syndrome or affected by it are actually the ones that are blessed because they know to stay away from it. But those of us that don't have any effect of it, we continue to eat it and it's continuing to damage us and continuing to hurt us. So thank you for sharing that. So I want you to listen now and to see that the spirit of prophecy, science, and everything is, I don't think this is the one. Is this the one? It should say, I'm not sure if this is the one. I don't think this is the one. It starts with him out in a forest. It's like, it's him and somebody else outside. All right, let's play it and see. I don't think that this is it. I think it's, no, this one, not this one. It's the one that says, oh, it's not this one. It's not MSG point 3. It's the one that says, it says cancer. Yes. Yes, that's it. Yes. And we don't have to watch the whole.
Cancer cells do feed on it, but you're saying glutamine is worse. Yeah, because the Warburg effect is the fact that normal cells use both an anaerobic and aerobic system, Krebs cycle. Cancer cells only use the anaerobic system. They would stall. Glutamine can work the aerobic system and produce a lot more energy. So if you eat a lot of sugar and you eat a lot of glutamine, you're really stimulating your cancer power. And so the idea is you want to cut down on your glutamine intake. Well, A lot of people are promoting glutamine as a way to heal the gut, leaky gut syndrome. And so they're saying take 5, 6, 10 grams of glutamine. That is a powerful stimulant for degenerative brain disorders, powerful stimulant for cancer growth. So you don't want to do that. There's a lot better ways to repair the GI tract that work better and safer and actually inhibit cancer.
But not glutamine.
But not glutamine. The other thing is foods, for instance, beans like black beans are high in glutamine. Mushrooms are high in glutamine. So these foods that are high in glutamine, you don't want to eat either. You want to try to eat only low glutamine foods, and a lot of those are your vegetables. And some cancer researchers think, well, this may be why people who are on vegetarian diets and juicing seem to have these spontaneous cures of their cancer, is because they have such a low glutamine intake and a low sugar intake. Both.
So they're getting rid of the two fuels.
Getting rid of two fuels. Now, cancer cannot use fat for its fuel. So coconut oil is a good way to keep your energy up without having to resort to sugar, and cancer can't use it.
MSG is one form of glutamate. What are some other sources of glutamate to avoid?
Well, the industry, really got hammered when my book Excitotoxin came out, and everybody was looking at glutamate, and so they started taking MSG off the label, and they even put on the label contains no MSG, and then they put sources of glutamate in it, like hydrolyzed protein, soy protein isolate, soy protein concentrate, autolyzed yeast, caseinate is a very common. All of those are extremely high in glutamate, but the law allows them to put those in the foods and still put on the label contains no MSG.
Because they're not monosodium glutamate.
They're not monosodium glutamate, okay. But they're just as dangerous and harmful as monosodium glutamate.
So you're going to watch out for all the forms of glutamate? All the forms of
glutamate, particularly soy. Soy is naturally high in glutamate and glutamine, as well as aluminum and fluoride and manganese.
Wow.
It's got a lot of toxins in it. Soy is a very bad food, and particularly a liquid food. If you get it in milk and soy liquid products, it's very high glutamate levels. Your blood level will rise as much as 20-fold to 50-fold.
And that's even if it's organic soy, right?
Doesn't make any difference. It's natural to the plant, And in my estimation, people shouldn't be consuming soy products.
Dr. Blaylock mentioned that glutamate is not only...
Okay, one of the things I want to just clarify on there, like someone was mentioning when he talked about the black beans, this is if you have cancer already. Glutamate is like pouring gasoline on those cancer cells. So you want to avoid, we're going to talk about a little bit of natural, because remember, it's an amino acid that occurs naturally in your foods. But if you have cancer, is what they're saying, is an addition to, you should try to stay away from the foods that are high in glutamate. That's what they're saying there. And the soy also, nothing that God made is bad. But what do you think is a problem with the soy now? It's GMO. Almost all soy now is GMO. And why I can say that is look at the people that were over in Asia. They've ate soy for years and years, non-GMO soy. They don't have any more high incidence of cancer as such, but because of the age that we're living in now, where man touched things and things are processed, the processed things are what causes the problem. Anytime that man touches something, then we have a problem. Okay, so the greatest danger lies in that today's society, MSG is almost impossible to avoid. And why is it almost impossible? What have we heard so far from what we're saying? You have, Right, so those of you that don't have a handout, raise your hand and my husband will give you a list of other names of MSG. And when I got this information, I took this list, I went through my cabinets. And I actually threw out the stuff before I thought about doing this presentation. I actually threw it and I went back and I had to buy a lot of things. But God, because I was so upset. I'm like, well, what is it, And here I am eating things. I use Bragg's amino acid. I use this McCabe seasoning. I use this Better Than Bouillon. I use all of these things on a regular basis, thinking that I am doing what is healthy for me, only to find out that it's not. They all have hidden MSG. Better Than Bouillon. Take a look at it. You're going to see. And you're going to get the list there and look at other names. Better Than Bouillon not only contains 1, but 3 forms of MSG. Anything that makes your food taste super good, remember that's what it does. Go back to the foods and weigh your garlic, your onion, your scallion. Thyme. Turmeric. Shadow Benny, for those of you from Trinidad. Go back to using your herbs. Anything that's touched by man, it's slowly. Better Than Bouillon, I love Better Than Bouillon. I put it in everything. Yes. I put it in everything because it makes the food taste really good. But you know what? It tastes good for you, but it's not good for you. That's a deception. Makes it taste good. But does it really making it taste good? It's making you perceive that it's tasting good. It's affecting your taste buds. Again, my thing is tofu is soy. You have to be concerned about is it GMO or not. My personal feeling is that I do not touch things. I try not to touch things that has been touched by man. God gave us the soybean. We made the tofu. I'm not saying it's the genetically engineered soy that is where the problem is. The issue is that we don't know what's genetic and what's not. That's the issue. So me personally, if in doubt, I do without. Me personally. There you go. We just showed. Yes. Were you here when we were looking at the fine print with the dolls? You were in here? Yes. Yes. Go ahead. Uh-huh. Because gluten, MSG is natural. It is natural. MSG is natural. It's an amino acid that appears naturally. And we're going to talk about, yes, we have to be a people that goes back to reading labels. The other thing that the Lord showed me, and I'm going to, since you brought that in at this point in time, did you see? Okay, I love cashews. Any of you love cashews? I love cashews. Now, no, I'm not killing you. Listen carefully about reading labels now, about reading labels. And I used to buy these cashews from CVS. And you know what? I'm so thankful to God because I can tell you this whole entire lecture came to me from the Lord. I'm walking in the store. I picked up the cashews and some voice said, read that label. I'm like, read the label? It's cashews. Read the label. So I read the label. Okay. Okay, I'm going to let you read what I read. You want to read it? Oh, I thought you were getting ready to read it. I was bringing it here. The very last line that it says right there, read what that last line says. Can you see it?
She did, right. Partially produced with genetic engineering.
Partially produced with, so what is this? GMO. GMO. Now, it doesn't mean that all cashews are GMO. Doesn't mean that all cashews are GMO, but this particular brand is GMO. Okay? And then I realized that if you look, I think it is Planters Peanuts. If you eat Planters Peanuts, you look on that label, it says the same thing. We have to be a people that go back to reading labels. Now, it doesn't mean that all cashews are GMO. And this is what I believe. I believe that if you don't know, and you're doing the best that you know how to do, you pray and God will do the rest. Because if we were to try to do every single thing, because what about loose cashews that you buy? I mean, we have to be thankful for the manufacturers that let us know. But I'm sure that there's some people out there that don't let us know. But for that, I believe God will cover us because he tells us in Exodus 15:26 that when we hearken to his voice. So remember, we're in a partnership with God. We do the best that we know how to do, and then he will do the rest. So we don't have to be fearful and what am I going to eat? You do the best that you know how to do, and God will do the rest. But be a people that read labels. Now, the other thing is, the same time with the cashews, you can show them who want. This is Snackwells, okay? And I was bringing, this is what we give in the hospital, all right? A lot of the things that we give in the hospital to be healthy and people that are sick, including Inshore and these Snackwells, they changed from giving sugary snacks to giving Snackwells that are supposed to be lower in fat. And again, it was a presentation like this, and I basically was bringing it to show that it had, too much sugar. It says it has cornstarch in here. And this also does have MSG, also flavor enhancer. If you look on your list, you'll see that dextrose is a form or breaks down into MSG. And this has dextrose. But then again, I'm reading the fine print, and this too says partially produced with genetic engineering. Right there. You want to see it? Right there in the fine print. Everything in the fine print. So we have to be thankful for the manufacturers that are telling us. Do you know even, and I'm going to get you right, we even had gloves in the hospital. I work as an assistant director of nursing at one of the Northwell hospitals, and one of my staff members came to me and showed me a box of gloves. On the bottom of the gloves, it actually said that the powder was carcinogenic. It actually said it on the box of gloves. I took it then to my boss, and they were baffled. We got rid of those gloves, but again, they were made where? In California. California has to warn you. We should be grateful and thankful to the manufacturers that are making us aware. There's many that are not making us aware, but we have to be a people that go back to reading labels. Okay?
Find out there's a lot of people drinking diet, whatever is diet, soda diet, Coke diet. If you read at the bottle, you have someone there? No, this is a destroying, that's cancer. Everybody
That's true.
knows that.
Pure cancer.
If you put it on something bad now, you will see it destroy that. So the same thing it did in your inside of you too. But it's not that I'm saying. This is what the worst one. I'm saying the diet drinks people is doing, you destroying yourself, you die. They take the tea out and tell me what to do. There is a liquid in there they put in the diet to make it diet for you.
It's the aspartame, what we talked about before. That's what's in it that is causing. It's the aspartame. It's the artificial sweetener, and anything. And remember, the liquid form. The liquid form is even worse because they found that it can possibly cross the blood-brain barrier and it gets into your system much more quickly than the solid form. You had a question? Well, we do, but that's another lecture. If you came in the beginning, you would see that was one of the dangerous food additives. Today, we're focusing on MSG. But yes, high fructose corn syrup is one of the dangerous food additives, along with several other things that we looked at the very beginning. We just named a few. But today, we're focusing on particularly MSG. But yes, high Yes, and also the sugar-free stuff. And I'll tell you how the sugar-free stuff, diabetics think that they can take sugar-free. Actually, your sugar-free things actually raises your A1C. And this is what happens and how it does it. When your brain is very smart. You take this, it tastes sweet. So your pancreas now is being ready, is sweet to release insulin. So it gets the sweet taste, it releases the insulin, nothing sweet comes. And it happens after a while. Then when you then after a while, the body says it tastes a sweet taste. It's not going to give insulin because we've had this before and nothing came. So now when you really eat something that's sweet, The body doesn't produce, it actually causes you to produce less insulin, and over time your A1C, which is your overall blood sugar level, will actually elevate and go up. The worst thing a diabetic can do is take those sugar-free soft drinks and cookies and cakes and all that stuff. Just stay away from the sugar, period. Eat fruits and vegetables. Your taste buds will change, and sweeten your things with fruits. Okay, I'm going to go on. So, as we mentioned here today, one of the... Oh, you had a question? Yes. Yes, but remember that glutamate is also a naturally occurring substance. The problem is that we take it out when it's manufactured or when it's processed. Pectin naturally contains in apples and other fruits. But when we take it out, even the glutamate, it occurs in protein. It's a part of a protein. But then when we take it out of the form in which God makes it and concentrate it, that's when it becomes a problem. Again, all these things that you look at, and that's why, as Dr. Eiffel said, that if it says natural, pectin is natural. Actually, MSG is natural. But it does not occur in nature in that form. It's manufactured by man. Pectin is in the apple, but you can't go to the tree and pick pectin. It's when we manufacture things and we think that we can improve on what God has given us, that's where the problem comes in. So that's why things might say natural, and it truly is natural, but it's not necessarily good for you. Anything protein, meaning that constant, like you see a lot of the high protein drinks, anything like protein powder, all of those things contain high levels of glutamate, and they're really not good. A lot of times they talk about losing weight and they have these protein powders, protein shakes. Not good. Go back to eating food in the form in which God gave us. Can you go to a tree, a bush, a vine? I'm coming, baby. Tree, a bush, a vine, and pick this thing. If man has touched it and you're not sure, don't go there.
I think one of the things we need to understand is that, do you know that there are almost nobody that's protein deficient in this country? Because there is sufficient protein in the skin of one potato for an adult person. The skin of one potato, there's sufficient protein in there. Protein is in just about every food that we eat. So you don't need no added protein or, I'm sorry? It's already in a natural food. So when somebody concentrate the protein and raise up the level of the protein, it's out of the order which the Creator had designed it to be.
Well, they peel it. They shouldn't. They should scrub it and use the potato skin. Yes, but potato protein. Actually, if you have a diet that's too high in protein, it actually makes you more prone to cancer. Because what is cancer? Cancer is an overgrowth of cells. And after you become an adult, you really don't need as much protein. Protein is there. Children need more protein as they're growing. Protein helps to repair your cells and such. Pastor, I know your Bible class is at 6. Is it okay? Can we go over a little bit? He said, go ahead. I know my pastor. Isn't this a Bible class? Yes, I believe that this is a Bible class too, and this is an end-time Bible class. I'm telling you, God himself gave me this message. I sat down, I was trying to say, how did I get this information? What happened? And it was because it was an answer to the prayer. And then it was everything I noticed that all those health leaders that were coming down, every single one of them is linked to these dangerous food additives. And most of them I know, and I know all of them were eating a lot of the vegetarian meats. We shouldn't be eating those vegetarian meats. I'm talking myself. I use Bragg's amino acid, nutritional yeast, the apple cider vinegar, the McCabe seasoning, the Better Than bouillon, the spike, all these chunks. Mrs. Dash, go back to eating food in the form in which God gave it. The original. I use all of that too. Don't wait till something happened to me. You know what? It's interesting you said that, because I told my husband that I'm going to write a cookbook, because now I cook my food without. My grandmother was one of the best cooks in the village. She had 10 children, so many grandchildren she cooked for, and everybody used to come around, and she would always have extra food for them. You know, she seasoned her food with, she had what we call kitchen garden. Outside, she had thyme, she had scallion, she had onion, she had garlic. That's what she used. So, celery, parsley. That's what we need to go back. You know what happened? This is what happened. These things are convenient. It takes time to cut up the scallion, the garlic, and onion. But guess what? Who and what lives in you? What is this? What is this? This is our temple, right? And who lives in the temple? Now, going back, equating our bodies back to biblical times, in the temple, when they brought offering to the temple, what kind of offering did they have to bring? Without spot or blemish. A pure offering. Did it take time? Did they have to inspect and make sure that what they brought to that temple was without spot or blemish? So how much more is your body? What we need to do in this fast-paced society is put aside a day where you're going to cook your food the right way, package it off, so when you need to heat it up, and get rid of the microwaves, get rid of the Teflon-coated pans, get rid of the plastic containers to store your hot foods, all of those things. Go back to things as natural as possible. The fluoride in your toothpaste. We make all natural toothpaste. So many different things I learned. My mind was overboggled, but I thank you, Jesus. I thank you, Jesus. He said to me, this sickness is not unto death, but for my glory. Now, my part is he healed me. I have to now share what it is he taught me with others. Not that you have to embrace it, but it's just my job to share with you. Because if it were possible, the very elect would be lost. But you will not be deceived, those of you that are in the sound of my voice, because God is not going to make that possible. See, you thought you were just coming here today. God is the one that led you here. You had no idea what I was going to be talking about. Every single person that is here now, because the other thing that my husband and I always pray about is that the Lord will send people to hear the message that we have. Those that need to hear this message. And he always does. Even our wedding, when we were choosing who would have come to the wedding, because we know so many people, and there's still some people that are upset. It wasn't that we just couldn't invite everyone. But we actually prayed and we asked God to give us the names of the people that need to hear. Because our wedding was all vegan. Some people said it was the first time they were ever to a wedding, completely vegan, even the cake. To show that you can have something that's very nice. Everything you do, I think everything you do should be done to God's glory. It tastes different. It even looked like plastic, right? And it's yes. 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 So even the fruits and vegetables have been messed with, but again, like we said before, you have to do the best you can with what you had. Because God knew that at this point in time, he knew where we would be. What I encourage people to do as much as possible, even if you don't have room, get a little pot, grow something. And you know why it's important to grow, if you can, even your tomatoes or your cucumbers? Because the plants that grow in the environment, okay, just settle down a little bit. You need to hear this part. The plants that grow in the environment where you live, they have developed like natural immunity to certain sickness and diseases if they thrive. And then when you eat them, I see Nicole does that. the cold gets her greens and stuff right from the area. And that's a smart thing, because what happens is where you're living, those plants have developed immunity to certain sickness and diseases. And then when you eat them, it then imparts that to you. So like even dandelions and stuff, get the ones that are local. Get the ones, don't spray them in your yard. And don't, when you buy them, you don't know where they're coming from. So let's go on now. So why is MSG almost impossible to avoid? Okay. Can't hear. Use the mic. Use the mic. Use.
Yeah, well, I think I'm saying that I grew up from a child. In school, I was part of a green, whatever it is, with pepper and salt. You know, I grew up in school with that. And I'm from a country, you know, a lot of Indians are there. So we adopt that curry thing with the pepper. I let go of the curry years ago. I used turmeric. But that pepper, which is with like green mango or tamarind, and we call something sorry and all of that, that's still in my taste. Can you throw a little light on pepper for me?
Well, you know already, if you're asking about it, that pepper isn't good for your intestinal tract. It actually erodes the mucosa. But what you can use instead that gives you that same peppery flavor but is good is papaya seeds. Dry the papaya seeds and grind them, and they taste just like black pepper without the negative effects. Well, they have what I would suggest, like I said, if you want, she says paprika, but paprika isn't hot. She wants the heat. Okay, this is what I would tell you. If you want to substitute, this is what I would tell you. They have something called flavor pepper or pimento. I don't know if you're from Trinidad, they have it. It's not hot, but it has the flavor of pepper. But to add the heat to it, which you want, you can get the seeds from the papaya, dry them and grind them, and use those two in your food. You will get the flavor of pepper, and you will get the heat of pepper without the negative effects of the pepper. That's what I was saying. Listen, I don't really want to touch that one because honestly and truly, my husband doesn't like pepper at all. But I sometimes do. But what I use right now. I use the flavor pepper or the what do you call it, pimento pepper that has the flavor of pepper without the heat. So that's what I would recommend you use. It does the same thing as a Scotch bonnet, because if you do that with a Scotch bonnet, it's not really hot. It just gives you the flavor of the Scotch bonnet. So just to be on the safe side, because sometimes, one time I had a friend of mine over who did not know, and I forgot to take it out, and she got it in her food and she started to eat it. So I would recommend use the pimento, use the flavor pepper that gives you the flavor of pepper. Okay, that's what and if you want the heat of the pepper, get the seeds of the papaya dry. And the other thing papaya seeds does is also helps get rid of parasites in your body also. Well, cayenne pepper, okay, cooked cayenne pepper actually destroys the mucosal lining, the mucus lining in your stomach. Now, raw cayenne pepper, like you just put the cayenne pepper in the water and drink it, that can actually help repair. Cooked cayenne pepper isn't good, but the raw cayenne pepper can be used medicinally. It can also be used to, do you know if you have a cut that is bleeding and you can't stop the bleeding? You put cayenne pepper on it, it will stop it immediately. No, it's just pepper. But we don't recommend you use it because of the heat. Yes. Okay, we're going to move. Yes, Pastor? Well, when they say cooked as raw, if you take that shaker and you put it in the food while it's cooking, that's when it's bad, when you heat it up. If you take that same cayenne pepper, sprinkle it on the outside, even though we don't really recommend that either. It's not the same thing. The cooked cayenne pepper is the one that irritates the stomach. Yeah. Well, I didn't hear that word, FISH. I did not hear that because we are supposed to be way beyond that right now. I didn't hear that. Okay, so let's get back. MSG causes the nerves to fire excessively. We talked about this, which causes a form of neurotoxicity. So what's neurotoxicity? As we mentioned again, it refers to the damage to the brain or peripheral nervous system caused by exposure to natural or man-made toxic substances. These toxins can alter the activity of the nervous system in ways that can disrupt or kill nerves. Again, we're only focusing on the nervous system because we said what? How does God communicate with us? Through our frontal lobe. But there are also glutamate receptors throughout the body. So it's not just the brain and the nervous system. You have it in your kidneys, you have it in your liver, you have it in your pancreas, you have it in your reproductive organs. So if you are taking a lot of MSG and over time will affect you in some way. Okay, so again, concentrated free glutamic acid or MSG act as a nerve stimulant and will change how the taste buds taste food. We mentioned this, right? So really bad tasting food will taste fantastic when high levels of glutamic acid are introduced as a flavor enhancer. And that's the reason why they put it in the food, to preserve the shelf life. If you remember years ago, any of you remember years ago, canned foods used to have a tinny taste? Canned, like a tin, like it was unusual. You don't taste that anymore. You know why? Look on it. Most of it will say citric acid or something else. It's a form of NSG. So that the food will still taste good, have longer shelf life because it has these additives in it. Well, again, she said, so that means don't eat canned foods. As much as possible, I'd be lying if I said I got rid of everything, but I'm really, really trying. My ultimate goal is to not have anything that is touched by man. That's my goal. That's where I'm trying to go. Can I get it from a tree, a bush, a vine? That's where I'm trying to go. Am I there yet? Not so, but that's where I'm trying to go. And then you won't have a problem, like you said. You lose the weight, will come right off. When folks are sensitive to MSG, what they're reacting to is the free glutamic acid in the blood. And the young lady over here mentioned that the night before you always ate Chinese food. Is that glutamic acid. Now, this is made when it binds with the sodium molecule. So whenever protein is broken down in the body, glutamic acid is freed from a protein which is naturally occurring. That's why, as you mentioned over there, they can say natural, because it is an amino acid. So whenever protein is broken down, you're going to get glutamic acid. The issue is this: when it's broken down with other amino acids, it's not too much. The body can handle it. But when we as man touch it and isolate it and concentrate it, that's where the problem comes in. So, whole foods versus processed foods. And we're going to go a little bit quickly because, okay, so glutamic acid is found in unadulterated whole food protein, does not cause that MSG reaction. Remember he said before that, if you remember, if you were listening, what were some foods that was high in glutamic and glutamic acids? Who remembers? Black beans and soy, or was it mushrooms? Mushrooms. Now, what it was saying is that if you have cancer, they recommend that you stay away from those things. But I'm not, if you don't, I'm not saying, he's saying that everyone should stay away. But remember that it's in those whole foods, but you won't have the reaction because it's also combined with other things. It's like, did you know that an orange has about 60 milligrams of vitamin C? And that you can take vitamin C that's 500 milligrams. But when you eat it in the orange, you're actually getting more of the vitamin C that is usable than when you take the 500 milligram tablet. Why? Because God put everything in that orange that's needed for your body to absorb it. When man touches it and pulls it out, even though the milligrams is higher, your body just urinates it out. We cannot, and I cannot stress to you enough, Man cannot improve on what God has given us. So it is the glutamic acid that must have been processed, must have been what? And manufactured or comes from protein that has been fermented. What is soy sauce? You fermented, and the liquid amino acids, not fermented, but all these things are no good. No good for us. So many processed food, including what kind of food? Organic health foods contain processed proteins that harbor free glutamic acid. The FDA, the Food and Drug Administration, they are not your friends either, does not require that manufacturers to label these foods MSG unless how much MSG is in there? 99% pure MSG is in the product. So you can have something, and you're going to see a little bit later, that actually says, I think is this the nickel, no MSG added. But when you look at the ingredients over here, as he said, it is the same as MSG under a different name. That is a deception. If it were possible, the very elect would be deceived. This is McKay's seasoning. It says no MSG. I'm going to show you the next slide. And if you look at your list there, okay, so FDA does not require that MSG appear on the label. MSG is produced as a result of protein hydrolysis or a byproduct of protein processing. And they do not have to put on there, they put MSG on the label, even though it contains MSG. So we said, so moreover, products labeled no MSG still have MSG or free glutamic acid as a result of the protein processing, as long as pure MSG was not added. So what is, oh, let's go back. Okay, so what is that? That's the McKay seasoning you have in your hand, right? Let's see, it's not going to let me show on the screen, right? It's not. Okay, if you see over here, it has up here, it says no MSG. Can you see that? All right. And do you see over here, it says autolyzed yeast. If you look on your list, that's one of the things that is the same thing as MSG. So again, here it is that we think that we're utilizing products that are healthy, they're good substitutes, and what do they contain? MSG. Why is this? What is the battle for? Our minds. If you look at the list that you have on there, you see where it says autolyzed yeast? That's the same thing or a derivative of MSG. So even though it says no MSG, does not necessarily mean that MSG is not contained. Anything that makes your food taste super good and is not these natural herbs that we use, beware of it. That's what I'm saying. My grandmother, that's what she did. My grandmother was one of the best cooks in the village, and that's all she used. She used things from her, what she called, quote unquote, kitchen garden, and would put a little lemon, grind it together, and they called that seasoning. They kept it in the fridge, and when they were ready to season their food, they just went and got their little bottle of natural seasoning, no MSG, no flavor additives. We need to be a people that are going back to that. Yes, you can use soap. The nutritional yeast, again, it's this particular one. Now, this is the one that says nutritional yeast seasoning. There is another nutritional yeast or yeast that's like that raises bread. As far as I know, that one is okay. But this one that says nutritional yeast seasoning, again, anything that is touched by man, I know it has on here, it has all these great B vitamins, it has B6, it has B1, it has folic acid, it has B12. But as far as I understand, because it's so concentrated with the protein also, it's not good. Not good. You can use lemon. You know, lemon is something that's very good. You could squeeze a little lemon, lime, and salt on your food. Make your own natural seasoning.
You know, I was a little hungry, so I said, let me walk up at the place and buy some bananas at the Asian store. I went, and not only did I buy bananas, but I bought a mango. $2.99 for this mango. I said, wow, mangoes are in already. Anyway, I ate a banana, but when I went home, well, I mean, by then was Wednesday day I'm fasting. But when I broke my fast, I ate that mango. And I'm telling you, I didn't anticipate your saying it, but it came to me that what God give us, no person can improve on. That was a very sweet, delicious, succulent mango. I'm telling you.
But you know, that's a way of also, that's a way of a way of resetting your taste buds is to go through a fast. That is the best detox. You know, people always say, oh, what can I get to detox? The best detox is a fast, a 3-day water fast, and you will get your taste buds back on track also. You know, when you're used to eating all these things in the food, when you first stop using it, the food is not going to taste the same. Because remember, your taste buds have been excited now. They think they're tasting something that's really good that's not there. So now your body's going to have to readjust. How's my food taste, baby? Not yet, not yet. Yeah, not yet. When that's Courtney's part. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to move on. We're spending a lot of time, but I believe this is time. I would rather that you learn and internalize. You know, that's why I told Sister Turner it's going to take time, because I realize that this is a topic I want you guys to be able to understand. Now, the changes that you make might not be immediate. I made my immediate changes because you know what I had going on. And sometimes don't wait for something to happen to you. But you see, God's promises are so true. So true. We do our part, He does His part. We do the best that we can do with what we have, and He will do the rest. Okay, so the truth is that protein hydrolysis-based glutamates, or MSG, are found in just about every highly processed food. And every highly processed food, okay? Vegetable proteins are hydrolyzed to make veggie burgers and many other frozen or pre-prepared vegan and what kind of food? And health food. You know, I'm coming to you 1 minute, I'll get you. I've heard that the vegetarian meats was supposed to be transitional food. But you know what the Lord impressed on me? Why do they need to be transitional food if we're preparing for heaven? If we're not going to be eating meat when we get to heaven, why do we need to eat a meat substitute? Adam and Eve didn't eat no meat substitutes. We need to eat the food in the form in which God gave us. Rice and beans, stew your peas, use your dal or whatever. Why do you need a meat substitute? The protein is too highly concentrated. Eat your food in the form which God gave you. Your banana, your dasheen, your yam. You have that and some stewed peas. Or just make a gravy with some onion and tomato. Why do you need to have a meat substitute? God has also impressed upon me that we need to simplify our meals. Too elaborate. Simplify your meals. You had a question. Your protein is in everything. When you look at who writes about the need for this high level of protein, look at who does the research. The meat and dairy industry and the people making the protein powder. You can get your protein from your beans. You can get it from Protein is just about everything. You can get it from your nuts. Protein is in everything. Protein is the amount of, you're a nurse, right? Have you ever had a patient that was protein deficient? It doesn't exist in this country. We're not in the third world countries. You will find protein deficiency. You will find calcium deficiency. It is overrated. Look and see who puts those studies out. It's the meat and dairy industry. We don't need as much protein. Growing children need protein. Growing children, as you get older, you need less protein. If you have a balanced diet, you're going to have more than enough protein. Matter of fact, too high protein diet can make you prone to cancer.
You know what? I have a client. We had a client with lupus. Then we went there we went visit her and talk to her. I told her, I don't want you to eat from anyone but me. I make a raw food and bring for her every day. In 2 weeks, you see her hand was having like fungus, things like that. We make a solution. He couldn't bend the hand over like this, close it like this. We make a solution and spray the hands. And eating the raw food, in 2 weeks she went to the doctor. Oh, the doctor said, oh, the medicine I gave you. For the hand, and she's been taking that medicine for like 6 months. But in 2 weeks, we make the solution, we spray the hands, and then the doctor said, oh, I'm going to increase the dose. Look how well it's working now. And then, you see, the doctor said, you are doing so well this week, I'm going to reduce all your medicine because you are doing so well. Then she called us and tell us, I say, don't take two, take only one of what you have. From raw food. Your food is your medicine. You eat the food the way God give it to you, the way God created it. You don't cook it, you don't put it on the stove. Oh, miracle will happen. Your food is your medicine.
Amen. I believe that, especially lupus. You remember I had a girlfriend also. She was diagnosed with lupus when I first took the medical missionary training class. And when I told her about vitamin D and changing her diet, and she did, and it's been almost 10 years now, she hasn't taken any lupus medication, and she hasn't had any of the side effects just by simply changing her diet and adding vitamin D to her regime. I believe that. I believe that definitely. Because remember that what does it say? God wants to do what? Did we read that last one? What does Satan come to do? John 10:10. Who had the John 10:10? You're right. To steal, kill, and destroy. But God is about what? Health, healing, and restoration. That's why when there's diseases that man is saying there's no cure for, God has the cure. I believe that there is nothing that's out there that God cannot cure. You know, they got rid of Dr. Sebi. Dr. Sebi was able to help with sickle cell. He was able to help with AIDS. He was able to help all these diseases that they claimed there was no cure for. But you see, my God is a God that's about health, healing, and restoration. He doesn't want us to be sick. But we have to do our part in terms of being obedient. When we do our part, then he'll do his part. And not half-hearted either. During that time, I'm telling you, I did everything to a T. A lot of times we're like, oh, can I do a little this? Or can I do a little that? I had another friend that had cancer. Every now and then I see her eating a little cake and stuff like that. Me, no sugar. I read everything. Nothing. I don't touch it. Sugar feeds cancer. It's like pouring gasoline on it. So I tell people, if you're not going to follow God's way strictly, follow the conventional medicine. Do conventional medicine. If you want the healing to come, you have to follow those laws as strictly as you can. So hydrolyzed vegetable protein. What is hydrolyzed vegetable protein? Hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Hydrolyzed vegetable protein. Hydrolyzed vegetable proteins. Okay? Is a powerful excitotoxin mixture which is often portrayed as a perfectly safe and, what my sister back there? Natural substance. After all, manufacturers say it is made from plants. And that's what I thought. I ate those vegetarian meats almost every single day, sometimes twice a day. I said I ate them, meaning back in the day before I got sick. Ate them. Not now. I don't even touch them. And you know what? It's a long time ago. I remember Dr. Kerr was our pastor, and he actually said, yes, and I remember Dr. Kerr talking, but I didn't take it in then at the time. But he didn't really elaborate like this either to help us explain or understand. But a long time ago, he said that those vegetarian meats were no good. And I'm not telling anybody to do this, but he actually said it's probably better you eat a little piece of chicken or fish and stay away from those vegetarian meats. Now, I'm not advocating that either. They're all in the same category, but at least those things are natural. This stuff is man-made, touched by God. But I believe that we're living in an age now that a plant-based diet is the healthiest diet, because that's the diet that God gave us in the beginning, and that's the diet that we're going to go back to in heaven. And if we're transitioning right now, we want to follow what God has. I'm going to take this hand, and then I'm going to try to finish up, and then so we can move on so Courtney can do his part. Because they don't have access to food the way we do. Yeah. And not all third world countries. Like some places in Africa, you ever see the kids with like they're black children, but they have reddish hair? That's an iron or protein deficiency. It's usually people that are starving and don't have food. It's because of the lack of food. But most foods contain some kind of protein. Even vegetables have protein. Okay, so hydrolyzed vegetable protein, we went through all of that. Okay, let's go on to the next slide. Okay, so when purchasing processed health foods, you must look for these common ingredients loaded with MSG that do not require an MSG listing on the label. Hydrolyzed vegetable proteins, all of those that I showed you. After you get a chance, you can come and take a look. Textured vegetable protein, anything with yeast extract. This one we mentioned. This one actually has a few. This has like 3 different things in it. And I used to use this almost on a regular basis. This makes your food taste really good. I'm serious. It has hydrolyzed corn protein. That's 1. It has maltodextrin. That's 2. And it has yeast extract. That's 3. And most things that say natural flavors that doesn't explain, that can be 4. This should not be something we should be using. Better than bouillon. It's loaded with MSG. But it makes your food taste real good. And I learned that the hard way. I used to use that almost every day in all the foods that I make. And that's why you'll see a lot of times you'll see me, everywhere I go, I pretty much bring my own food because I know that folks don't know this. And because of my issue, I have to make sure as much as possible. So you see there, yes? Yes. Yes. And like I said, it was God himself that revealed this to me. It wasn't anything. It was just by praying and asking God. You see, God will answer our prayers. It was just by praying and asking God, why is it that so many of us that are into health, we're doing the best that we can do? And you see, again, it's a deception because we think that we're doing what's the right thing without really realizing that it's harmful. That's harmful. And you know, before I even got this, I have a good friend also. She was having problems with her blood pressure. And no matter what she did, the blood pressure wasn't coming down. And the Lord told me to tell her, stop using Bragg's amino acid. At the time, I didn't even know why. I didn't know why. I said, you know, the Lord told me to tell you stop using Bragg's amino acid. And she stopped using it and the issues she had, but I didn't know. I didn't know anything about excitotoxins or glutamic acid. I didn't know. I just knew that's what the Lord told me and I shared it with her. Okay, so again, the labels, we have to read all labels. I'm going to let us go a little bit more quickly. So hidden MSG, all of you have the list that was given out? Anyone at all you had the list? If you look for, you'll see other names that refer to the list provided, okay? And remember that the battle is for your soul. So how do you go about avoiding hidden MSG in your food? Who can tell me? Read the labels, right? We're going to look here. Okay, number 1. Make that your main focus should be on a diet of whole, unprocessed food, including vegetables, grains, legumes, fruits, nuts, and seeds. Does that sound familiar? Where does that go back to? Genesis 1:29, right? So that's the first. The first thing we're going to do, and it says here, is we should really pray. We need to pray. The first thing we need to do is pray and ask God for guidance. Because like I said, these things here, and I'm going to share 2 other things with you, all came from the Holy Spirit. Nothing on my own. All came from the Holy Spirit. So the list that you have before you, I went through my cabinets with that list. And I was surprised that so many things that I love contained hidden MSG. Olives, citric acid in there. I love olives. Unless you get the kind that's in the water. If you use that list and go through your cabinets, anything that's processed or refined or touched by man, I guarantee almost you're going to find so many things that it's not even funny. As much as possible, learn the hidden names for MSG and other dangerous food additives. We didn't go through all of them, but there's aspartame, the high glucose corn syrup, the nitrates. There's many food additives, colors that we need to avoid, that all in processed foods. Cook your own food as much as possible, using unprocessed whole foods and natural herbs and spices to season your food. So you need to stay away from the McCabe seasoning, even the spike, the liquid amino acid, the salad and vegetable seasoning. Has right on here, it says MSG, monosodium glutamate. Matter of fact, it's the second ingredient on here. Perfect pinch. Even Mrs. Dash, that seems so natural. Mrs. Dash has citric acid. Look at it when you get home. Mrs. Dash. All of these products, that's why it's a deception. Even the things that seem like they're healthy. And how did I realize some of these things? Some of the things I was telling people or getting ready to share with them, that you can use this instead. And the Holy Spirit said, no, read that label, do the research. So I've come to the conclusion that we have to just go back to eating food in the form in which God gave us. Jesus is coming back soon, and very, very soon. So the battle is for our minds, our ability to make good decisions, our ability to discern spiritual things. So always, we mentioned before, read your label. Even if it is something that you're used to using on a regular basis, still read the label. The reason being is that new manufacturers sometimes take over a product and add something in it that wasn't there before. Like, I can't believe, like I said, I've been using this Dulce for I don't know how long. I can't imagine that that labeling was on there, because I know if I had read that, there's no way that I would have been using it. So at some point in time, it either was added or changed. 2 hands back here. corn and soy, unless you get it natural. But we're not focusing on that today. We're going to hear a little bit more. This is the second part. I'm going to hurry up so Courtney can go. But as we mentioned before, the foods are being tainted. All around is being poisoned. I don't know if you were here in the beginning. Even the fruits and vegetables. So what we have to do is we do the best that we can do. And then God will do the rest. Do the best that we know how to do, and then God will do the rest. So always again read your labels, and we're going back to health and happiness. This is where we should be. Our fruits, our vegetables, stay away from processed and refined foods. And going back to Genesis 1:29, let's read it ourselves. This is the diet that God gave us. And God said, behold, I have given you every herb bearing seed, which is upon the face of all the earth, and every tree in which is the fruit of a tree yielding seed. To you it shall be for meat. Genesis 1:29. And then what was added after sin came into the world? The vegetables were added, and that's Genesis 3:18, which was the food that was originally for the animals. But because God, you see, we serve a God that is a God of love. The enemy wants us to think that we have a harsh, exacting, strict God. He's a loving God, but he is a God that was said that means what he says and says what he means also. Because he's a God of love doesn't mean that he's going to bend or change his rules. And it's like if you have, and I mentioned this morning, you have a hot stove. You tell the child, don't touch the stove. The child touches the stove and got burned. Did you burn them? But that's what we say to God. Oh, we were punished. We did it ourselves. God created us. Because he loved us, he made us with a free will, freedom of choice. And with that free will, we can choose to do the wrong thing. And when we fall into the traps of the enemy, when we do the wrong thing, we can't blame God, because still him and his mercy, like the children's story this morning, when we correct the wrongdoing that we did, he can help us to make us all brand new. Isn't that a loving God? Can't you wait to, don't you feel anxious to go home? You know, that's what somebody that said, you know, when they did the airstrike a couple of weeks ago, somebody called me and they were like, oh, Sister Evans. I was like, listen, I'm so sorry. I cannot wait. I am so ready to go home. You just don't know. So these things we know are going to happen. So what do we need to do? We need to be preparing ourselves and preparing others to go. We haven't seen anything yet. Ellen White says that the things that are going to happen, she can't even describe. It's going to be worse than anything that we know. Some of us he's going to put to sleep so we don't have to go through that. All you have to do is make sure that your call and your election is sure. So if you learned something different today, I'd like you to stand and let's pray together. If you would like to make changes based on the things that you learned today, pray first? I'd like you to pray first. Have you closed this section?
Okay. Has the information been informative to you? Have you seen some adjustment you need to make in your life? Are you willing to make those changes? Do you want to ask God to help you to do that? Are you serious? This is not just another service. Not just another service. So let's bow our heads right now. Holy Father, we thank you so much for your word. We thank you that you place on the pages of nature words that says, come back. We used to hear a commercial years ago that says, come back to Jamaica. Well, come back to God. Come back to the way things used to be. We ask, Holy Father, that you will help us to have a voice from now on in our minds that will remind us when we are participating in something that will harm your holy temple. Teach us to remember that this body is your dwelling place. And you said in 1 Corinthians 3:16 and 17, what? Don't you know that your body is my temple? And if you destroy it, I will destroy you. Help us, Father, to be conscious of the fact that the God who loves us so much wants to live within us. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen and amen. You may be seated. And then we're going to go to Courtney. But just one little thing, actually two things. You could say there, Courtney, I wanted to show you about the importance of reading labels. What kind of tea is this? What do you see on there? Soursop. So how many of you here know that, have you ever heard soursop tea or soursop leaves actually kill cancer cells? Okay, so I picked this up, right? When I was at home again, the Lord said, read the label. What is it? What does it say here? What's the ingredients in here? That's the ingredients right there. Oh, you need glasses? Who has glasses that they can see it? Who has glasses that could read it, see? What's the ingredient?
Pure Ceylon green tea. Nature identified soursop flavor.
Soursop flavor. So you pick it, it's green tea with soursop flavor. You see the importance of reading labels? The importance of reading labels. And one other thing I just wanted to put, have ever heard of Essiac tea? Anybody heard of that? It's a tea, okay? This tea right here is, you have to boil it and you let it steep and then you strain it and you boil it again. This is the pure tea right here. So I figured, okay, you know, instead of having to go through all that trouble, again, we want to be fast. Why don't I just get the capsules? When you read the capsules, what it say on here? One of the ingredients, again, maltodextrin, which is a kind of MSG. So you're taking something to get rid of cancer that has something in it that can cause cancer. Importance of reading your labels, okay? You want to pass it? Sure. That's good. That's the good one. But again, that takes time. So again, your body being the temple, you need to take time. Things that are too fast, too processed are generally not good. And Courtney is my partner here. He's my fellow medical missionary. We've been going around. Now, I shared with you all the things that we should avoid. He's going to share with you some natural remedies and some things that are good. He has, when we're done, you can come and take a look and see the things that he has up here.
Thank you, Sister Heather. We're going to go back to basic in 15 minutes. Back to basic in 15 minutes. No, you guys are guests, right? Do we have any? Your guests? She already gotten one. Okay. No, lemon. I start with lemon. I squeeze it in my eyes in the morning. If you have cataract, you squeeze it in your eye in the morning, and in the evening you put honey in your eyes, and you do it for 2 weeks. I have a knife here. Anybody want to test? Test? No, this is easy. Yeah, no problem. There's a knife here. You can cut it. No, my supervisor, she put it in her eyes, but what she did once, here it is. What she did once, this is cayenne pepper. She had swelling in her knees. And it was at the job, so she couldn't put her foot in water. And so she mixed it with oil and rub her knees. And it causes heat. It creates heat. And anywhere there is heat, there is blood flow. And if there is blood flow, you have nutrients going there, you have water going there, you have everything that the cell needs to repair itself. And so she forgot that she had this on her hand, and she touched her eyes, and it burned. But after a while, she could see. We were at a church in Brooklyn. Oh, yes. And when we finished, it's the same distance. And there's a road at the front, and there's a police station across the street, and there's a parking lot. And when we squeezed the lemon in her eyes, she said she could see through the door, see across the road and see the cars them outside. Because, yeah, she could not see to the doors. Remember, when you squeeze the lemon in the eye, it causes blood circulation. And if it causes blood circulation, another reason why we lose our eyes, because after a while the blood stops flowing. Because the capillaries are so small. Some of us are diabetic, and so the blood is thick, and so the blood is not thin enough to reach our eyes. And so when you squeeze it in your eyes, even cataract, it will break up cataract. Another medical missionary said that he started squeeze it in his father's eyes. And some weeks after, he sees something coming out of his father's eyes. It's a cataract was breaking up. All right? No, the lemon is awesome. Will somebody come and cut it and squeeze it in the gentleman's eyes for me? Yeah. Chickens, all chickens. Chicken, veggie chickens.
Let me give you the story about lemon. I jump and do it. I was a couple of years back. I know about this one, okay? And then a friend of mine with seed, yeah. Yeah, a friend of mine was a problem with cataract. So I just heard this. I didn't know that before. I said, why don't you check this part? I said, put lemon in the morning, honey at night. You've been doing that for probably 3 weeks. He said, Francois, I throw this out. I said, what to throw out? My glasses, I don't need it anymore because I don't need it anymore. But I still wear glasses. I don't wear glasses. I will do glasses. You know why? Something I will tell you. If you want to do it, consistency, that's the key. Do you understand what I'm saying? You have to keep doing it. If you're not doing it, it's done.
Yes.
Just one, because when one drops in your eyes, you close your eyes so you don't get that second chance. All right? It will burn. Yes, it will burn. But you just get it in the eye. Anywhere it is, you just rub the eye and get it stretched. We won't get between husband and wife, no. No, yes. The first chance you get. You understand? Because when you squeeze it, drops in the one eye, you have to close that eye. You're not going to open that eye because it's going to burn. And then you go to the other eye after the first eye cooled down. You go to the next eye and squeeze the next eye. And you will see very clearly. I was at a funeral. And I do the presentation at Linden Church. And the gentleman, I was looking at him and he was looking at me. And you know, you have this feeling that you know this person. And then he came over and said, "You are the lemon man." And I said, "Yes." And he said, "Oh, you remember?" Because at that presentation, someone went home for the lemon, bring it back with the knife, cut it, and I did it in my hand. And everybody was doing it. And so he wasn't wearing the glasses when I saw him. And he said, since he started doing it, he has good eyesight. Because you're forcing blood to the eyes, and the eye cells die quicker than, or the arteries or the eye. The eye cells die quicker than anywhere else. Yes. It has antibacterial. Yes. 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 No, you know the Chinese makes everything. So you have to make sure, even, you know, if you put it in the refrigerator, it gets hard. So you have to pray and do your best. Yes. Yes. No. Luca, honey, Sister Heather said. Yes. Yeah. Because sometimes they put sugar in it, fructose and all that stuff in it. Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Stay good? Uh-huh. Lemon in the morning and honey in the evening. Yes. 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 As much as you can get in your eye. I don't know how you're gonna work because it's thick. So you have to figure out how to get that thick honey in your eye. Yes. One at a time, please. Huh? Well, I'm pray. But the honey is good because you're balancing. Yes. Yes. Raw honey and as much as you can get in the eye. Yes. That's no. Dip it on a paper towel like the side or the angle part of the paper towel or fold the paper towel. Dip it inside here and just dip it. I don't know you're gonna work it, sister. I haven't reached that far. All I know that's the process. No, just leave it. Yes.
The best way to do the honey is put it on a dropper. Dropper, put it in there, and then drop it in there. 1, 2, 3. A dropper, or put it inside the dropper, and then put it in your eyes. That's the best way. 1 drop in each eye.
So yes, I have almost 15 minutes. All right, no lemon. Moving forward. Question after my 15 minutes. Yes? No, the lemon. This morning when I got up, after squeezing in my water, that's the first water that I drink each morning. I have a pastor, good friend. I'd have to ask him if I can use his name next time. But he started just doing lemon and water, and he started losing a lot of weight. Just with the lemon and water. Because remember, the lemon alkalizes the body. A young lady was talking about acid. I squeeze, just rub it on your face. It is alkalining, right? And you do the molasses. This is molasses. You can paint your face with it. And you let it stay, and when you finish, you clean it, and then you use, what's this? Olive oil. All right? Now going back to the lemon, after squeezing in the first water, which is about a cup, 2 cups of water, and then I drink my second cup with Celtic sea salt. That's a grain. It has 82 minerals, and it has 3 more magnesium than the pink salt. You know that magnesium attracts water into the cell, because we can be drinking the water, but it's not going into the cell. We need sodium. We don't need it, the poison or the death. I call it death. We don't need the death. This is 2 minerals. This is poison. If I mix this in water and inject it, I will die. But if I mix the Celtic sea salt in water, I will live. 82 mineral. Question, is it a question or a comment? Is it a question or a comment? A question or a comment? You're helping me or? All right. All right. No, after drinking that second glass, I get cayenne. I sprinkle in my water, and I drink my water. Yes. Yes. I work in Jersey. So after drinking that water, then I have to keep that package until I get into Jersey to let that package off. All right? No, you see, because it's absorbed and it's taking its time through the system. Is it a question or is it a comment? A question after 15 minutes. All right? Comment? Give me a second. Let me continue. No, after drinking those 3 waters, I squeeze this in my hand and I use it as my roll-on. Yes. And then
I call my wife after the day is done and say, come and smell. Sorry to say, come and smell, big man. And she doesn't smell anything. Because the lemon neutralizes the acid and the bacteria. So I've been using lemon for the longest while. Because remember, anything that you put on your skin goes into the bloodstream. Understand? And so you have to go back to basic in 15 minutes. Starting now, 15 minutes faster. I'm just kidding, Pastor. Eh? Comment? What?
Oh, you already said. The deodorant, yeah. And then, you know what I did also? I don't use any lotion or oil in my body, only lemon, everywhere. Yes.
And remember, it's a disinfectant, you know. So anywhere there is smell, it neutralizes that smell.
I find out there is a lot of ladies spend a lot of money in makeup, stuff like that. If they can give me that money, I bought a couple of lemons for them. You don't need to spend money over there. That's a making money outside. But you use lemon, 2 lemons for $2, and then you get like $50. The lady come in my not in my church, a place. He bring a bag of makeup he made in herself. That bag is $150. I said, oh my God, why don't you give me $125 and then I can get the lemon for $2? He said, why the lemon? I said, the lemon will replace all this. Since then, he never buy stuff and use lemon on everything in our body.
You see, one other thing we don't believe in natural stuff. Is that a private one or what? Is that private? Is not, that was not a comment? If you're making a comment, it must for everyone. Yes.
I told them, we were talking there, I told them, okay, touch my skin. You see? Who wants to touch me? No, from lemon only. no lotion, nothing, lemon.
She's a lemony woman. That's sugar and water and lemon. Is that a comment? She basically, she said she squeezed the lemon, and she, after having a shower, yes, she, on her entire body. That's why she's so soft. Right, sir?
Yeah, that's true. She's right, because I've never Sonny called by something to put on her. Only the yellow thing. I said, what's the yellow? Lemon.
No, high blood pressure. Back to me, back to me, back to me. Back to me, back to me, back to me. There's a treatment where you use 1 lemon, first day, second day, 2 lemon, third day, 3 lemon, and you go up to 7 days, 7 lemon, and then you reverse the process. No lemon, high blood pressure, all the different cleansing the blood, liver, all of that. It cleans the system out. Just lemon, right? There's another treatment where the liver, detoxing the liver, where first day 5 lemon with a tablespoon of olive oil. Second day 10 lemon with a tablespoon of olive oil. And the third day, 15 lemon with a tablespoon of olive oil. Now, for 3 days, you know who I try it on? My wife. Anything that I come up with. And she does. Yes. And she had some respiratory issues. And I don't see it there. Onion. She ate the onion. And she just bites up like that. And I'm saying, and it cleansed her. She went to the toilet and it caused her to go freely. Just eating onion. If your child have an asthma attack, you can bite into an onion and it neutralizes the effect. Now, we have onion syrup for cough that you can get from this book. Heather provide this book. It's basically 1 whole onion and half cup raw unrefined honey. And this is good for coughing. And this is all natural without the alcohol or anything like that. This is wheat germ. If you're diabetic. Now, before I say anything else, if you're going to make any lifestyle changes, please consult your doctor before doing any changes whatsoever. Comprende? See. So this is wheat germs. 5 tablespoons gives the same effect as insulin. Wheat germ. 5 tablespoons give the same effect as insulin. Same effect. Insulin. Wheat germs. All right? Put it in your porridge. You can put it in your water. You can put it in your salad. You can just put it in your mouth. Whatever you want to do with it. All right? Is that... No, I'm not there. You want to... Sure. Flaxseed. They call it linseed. Flaxseed, linseed, and it's brown. You don't use the powder. Or you don't buy it in powder or flour form. Because it's rancid because of the omega-3, which is good. The omega-3 in it is better than the omega-3 in fish oil. Now, where did the fish get its omega-3 from? The plant. So even the fish has to go to the plant. Why would you get your second-hand oil? Well, second-hand oil, right? Second-hand from the fish, your oil. So get it first-hand. You buy it like this, you get a grinder, grind it, you put it in your porridge. You can, like this, you can put it in water. Say you're not going. Constipate, if you're constipated. 2 things you can do. If you're not drinking enough water, you're going to be constipated. Every time you eat, you should go. If you look at your digestive system like a complete pipe, if I put a lot of this in, it eventually get to the back, right? So if I put something here, something should come out at the end, correct? And so if you pass 2, 3, I know a nurse friend of mine, she said that every 2 weeks she was going. 2 weeks. But because you don't know, you think it's the norm if you're growing up like that. Yeah, you have people who don't, man, it's months. Yes. No, for real, yes. But if you don't know, every time you eat, you're supposed to go. No, this is inexpensive. It has lignan in it. And lignan fights cancer, breast cancer, prostate cancer. If you have high cholesterol, let me see the hands that has high cholesterol. Flaxseed. Glucose. We did a 10 days health challenge. And nurse friend of ours, we did her cholesterol and it was 226. And after 10 days, and we tested her, it dropped 100 points. After 10 days on a raw food diet. We had to test her twice because at 100 points in 2 weeks, no man, something is wrong. So we test her again, and I'm getting competition on my left. We're going to put them in the corner right here now, yeah? That's okay. And so we asked her, what were you doing? What you did? She said that she used 2 to 3 tablespoons of flaxseed in everything that she was eating. So flaxseed, if you have high blood pressure, flaxseed. If you have cancer, flaxseed. If you have high cholesterol, flaxseed. If you have your A1C is high, flaxseed. If you have inflammation, flaxseed. If you have any brain sick, flaxseed. Constipation, flaxseed. But remember to drink your water, because too much fiber will cause constipation. All right? Is it a comment or is it a question? Yeah, no, after 15 minutes. Comment or question? Hot flashes. You know that the Japanese, the Caucasian ladies don't go through flash. They don't have a name for it because they eat a lot of soya bean, organic soya bean, natural soya bean, and even that natural soya bean also fights cancer. But when, as my elder said, when man touch it, you have to stay away from it. So whatever the issue, it's inexpensive. Flaxseed. You put it in your porridge. Yeah? Who knows porridge? You know, oats porridge, yeah? Just mix it and put it inside here. What do you call it? Pop? Pop! Well, you have to be drinking water. And water balances. Is that a comment or a question? Yes. Yes, yes. It expands and gives you that crunchiness and yes. The flaxseed. It also binds stuff. Yes, so it's an egg replacement. And I hear nothing else down there, sister. Yes, yes. She used it as an egg replacement. Stomach issue. Cabbage, yes. I have a friend had issue for 21 years, stomach issue, and I got my extractor, my juice extractor, and I lend her my juice extractor, and within a week, drinking cabbage juice, it went away. But guess what? It came back because she was eating her last meal at 9 o'clock. And so she was going to bed with that meal on her stomach. Because when you change, you have to change. You cannot go back to what you used to do because it come back with a vengeance. And so cabbage also on the outside, you iron it or you beat it up and put it on the outside of if you have inflammation. Arthritis, because of the uric acid from protein. The body cannot get rid of the uric acid, so it goes into the joints and cause arthritis. And so this alkalizes the blood. And lemon. Come up here and let's squeeze some lemon in your eye, sister. Come. Be brave. Yes, come. No, one of the reasons why men have more eye problem than women is because men don't cry. Men don't cry. But Jesus wept. I think that's the shortest verse. Jesus wept. Yeah. So Jesus had excellent eyes. Yeah, man, it's a part of nature. We need to cry. We grow up and them say that, oh, big man don't cry, boys not. No, man, we need to cry and laugh and be fun, yeah? No, I'm not sticking on lemon. Lemon and blackstrap molasses and raisins. I'm supposed to have raisins somewhere around it. All right, say, let's call this, that's not raisin. All right. Oh. All right, let's say I had raisin. Raisin a tablespoon of molasses, and if you can get organic lemon with the skin, you put it in the blender and you blend it, and it's good for anemic. If you're anemic, anemia. If you're anemic, yes, it's a shot. So if you can't get to the, I don't think it's there. It might be in the container over there. So if you can't get to the, certain pills, that the iron pill, it has to have certain certain nutrients for it to digest. You need B12, you need B complex, vitamin B complex, you need folic, you need copper, and something else, vitamin C, for iron to be absorbed into the bloodstream. Is that a comment or a question? All right, let's question time. It's 15 minutes after question time. I'm gone over 15. Raisins are in iron, yes. Molasses, raisins, and lemon. Blend it and drink it. Yes. Yes, that's the best thing, we tend to throw away the skin. The old lemon. You can imagine. No, I'm just looking. You can imagine. No, I'm just thinking of Adam. When Adam, no, I'm just thinking. Remember Adam when he saw a mango? He didn't peel mango, he just bite seed and everything. You remember his teeth were, if he was about 18 feet tall, you can imagine those teeth? And so he bite everything, man, and he get everything from the food. You know, you see? How where you come from? My apologies. My apologies. Chia seed. They're more expensive than the flaxseed, but there's a treatment for chia seed where you put it in water and you leave it there overnight and it expands, and you can use it for if you want to lose weight, because it fills you up. This is chia seed. Chia? Yes. Question. I'm at my cut point. Yes. Room temperature. I put a little heat on it because the time is so cold. So we're not supposed to be drinking cold water. And we're not supposed to be drinking hot water. It affects the mucosa of the stomach. And it also, you have to pull energy from the body to add. If it's cold, you have to pull energy to cool it down. And if it's too hot, you have to pull energy from the body to warm it down or cool it down. Yes. 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 No, you don't have to. No water. 1 lemon. A handful. Just do enough. Yes. Just blend it and it becomes watery because of the lemon. Yes. Okay. All right. No. Huh? Sister Heather. You know the best person here, Sister Heather. Sister Heather, the young lady is asking, where do you get this book? All right, so talk to Heather when we're finished. Yes. What's this? It's shaky. This is charcoal. When you're poisoned, or when you take overdose of whatever it is, we take overdose of, am I getting competition over here, Sister Heather, or what? Phone in, okay. This is charcoal. If you have a bite. I remember my wife who went up to Victory Lake, and something bitter, she didn't know what it was, and her skin was turning red. And they mix charcoal and flaxseed. They grind the flaxseed and they mix it together and put it on her. She put it on a yes, and you put it on the feet, and it went away. No, if say you're going through chemo, and you want to get rid of, basically, charcoal grabs onto anything that is not from the body. That is waste product. That is if you take, for example, if you overdose of medication, this is what they use on you. Somebody had an allergic reaction to peanut or nuts, and they just mix this in water and give them to drink.
And yeah, we made cheese from cashews. And usually we have a disclaimer right on the day with the samples, but for some reason it wasn't there, and the person ate the cashews, and within a few minutes of eating it, he asked, does this contain nuts? And we said, yes. He said, I'm allergic. And he said, I don't have. He said, do you have an EpiPen, which is a pen that you have to use right away, which we didn't have. He said, well, then you have to call 911 for me right now. So I said, well, we have something else. Will you be willing to try it? We had the display of different natural remedies. He said, yes, I'm willing to try anything. He said, because you're going to have to call. I have a bad reaction. So what we did is we had the loose charcoal, and we just put like a tablespoon inside, like 4 ounces. And he drank that, and he said that within minutes of drinking it, he felt better than when he usually gets the EpiPen. And he was like, from there on, he said that's what he's going to be using now instead of the EpiPen. Yes. And that was at CCC that happened.
Activated, that's right, activated charcoal. There is a situation, if you have any problem with your stomach, anything inside of this belly, a spoon of charcoal in water, in a few minutes, you're going to do some boom. You know that boom? Yes, that gas there. You're going to remove that right away, 1, 2, 3.
I don't understand that. Add 1 tablespoon of activated charcoal to 1 8-ounce glass of water. Stir well and then allow to settle for several moments. Pour off the clear water on the top and then drink freely. Excellent for gas and bloating.
Or even when you go to we go on a lot of mission trips and you're not sure about the water, exactly what he says there, you mix the water, let it settle, and then you can drink that other water that has been with the charcoal, and you don't have to worry about like parasites or anything like that. I've even heard somebody say, I wear the mask on my job. They have a law now that if you don't get the flu shot, you have to wear a mask. But I wear the mask. But some nurses are working on the floors, and a friend of mine told me what he does is he takes a charcoal already patch made up with him. He goes and he gets a shot and immediately puts it on there and takes some charcoal at the same time. I don't know if it makes a difference, but that's what he says that he does.
Yeah. Should I listen to it? I didn't know that you were listening to me down there. Yeah, I'm just kidding. So you mix it in water and drink it. That's it. Chemo. Remember? Who did that? Okay. All right. So, for example, chemo has adverse side effects. And it's a way of getting rid of some of the adverse side effects because it locks onto anything that is not a part of the body. Yeah, anything that is not a part of the body, it removes it from the body. It can be used as a cleanse also. But remember, you have to drink water with it, Uh-huh. You can, if you want. It's up to you. So I'm not going to say. No, it no matter. It takes it with whatever treatment out of the body. No, because you take it out. So it's up to you what you want to do. Well, if you say you're at home and the side effect is terrible, and you don't think you're gonna can manage the process. Herbal chemo. Yeah, heard about herbal chemo? Herbal chemo instead of the chemical chemo. Can't you? Wait, I talk to you after. All right. Yeah. Let me see the individual who have this book. Let me see the hands. It's Encyclopedia of Foods and Their Healing Power. And this is volume 2. Let me see the hands again. No, let me see the hands who use them. You use it? Let me see the hands who have not seen it, don't remember where it was, where did they put it. Because I want to come for it, you know. Give me a telephone number and your address and let me come for it. These books are expensive. They are, pardon me? Yes. So you have it. You use it? Can I come for it? Then what? No, but it's like if I take it, it's like you're still not using it, don't it? Isn't it the same principle? No, because sometimes people ask, because it's expensive, right? Sometimes people ask me for organic treatment. Yes. Heather.
After sunset, if they have after sunset, if it's okay, I think I might have some in the car after sunset.
All right. Thank you. I'm looking at orange. You know, last year and year before, I usually get colds and flus. And this year, I started eating more oranges. You know, I do like an orange for breakfast, or orange for just orange alone, just to detox the body, and because of the vitamin C and other minerals and nutrients in it. And so I started eating more orange, and I have not gotten a cold or a flu. My coworker has been getting all of that flu, cold, but I don't get it. And there's a treatment inside here. The treatment should be followed for 1 or 2 days per week for 3 or 4 weeks. It consists of eating only orange each day and drinking only fresh juice. 10 to 12 oranges may be eaten, and 2 to 4 glasses of juice may be drunk each day if the orange are very bitter. 2 teaspoons of honey may be added to each glass of juice. And let me tell you what that is good for. What is higher in vitamin C than orange? What food kind is higher? No, I'm not talking fruits. Yeah, kiwi. And what is this? Pepper is higher. And what is this? Has more vitamin C than orange. No, if I have cancer, I'll be drinking and eating and sleeping with this. This is broccoli. Yeah, juice it, man, we'll be best friend after my wife, yeah? So it's good for infectious disease. Constipation, parasites, white blood cells, good for the white blood cell, and thrombosis. Now, white blood cell, what the reason why we get cancer? Why we all have cancer cell. Let's say it. We all have white cancer cell. But why do the cancer cell increase? Because our immune system is shot. If our immune system is, if they create a wall and the wall is high with the immune system, it's because we're not getting enough sleep. If we're not going to bed at the correct time. So it's not just getting enough sleep, but getting going to bed at the correct time. 9 o'clock, I think, in the summer. 9 o'clock in the summer, and in the winter, 10, I think, or the other way around. But you have to be in bed by that time. So that means you should supposed to be getting ready to be asleep at that time. But guess what? What do we have in our hands? The screens, right? And we have it in the bedroom, right? And we have WhatsApp. Let me see hands who have WhatsApp. But tomorrow when you get up there, it's going to be WhatsApp. And the next year, there's always going to be WhatsApp, right? So you have to prioritize. The TV. Let me see the persons who have TV in their bedroom. And when you turn it off, there's a little light on the. There's a little light there. No, what's the purpose of the bedroom? Bedroom. And for marriage people, it's what? All right, so it's the bedroom for big people, right? For sleep. All right. No, cancer can cancer be caused because of lack of drinking enough water. So we need to drink more water, right? Sunshine. TV, just open the window and throw the TV outside, man. Screen. The screen, we're watching too much TV, and some of us say we can't sleep without the TV on. Remember, when you're sleeping, you're still hearing the TV, you know. You're still hearing the music. That means you're not sleeping. The mind, the body is still processing that information. One at a time.
I'm saying that they're now saying that as low music, even in children's room, cause them to sleep better without the music. It should not be high. It's very, very low.
I remember, I'm talking. At the front. I remember when I was small, and I grew up in the town, and I had to go to the country. And when I go to the country, there was then a light on the stick, they usually say. No light on the stick. We had Home Sweet Home. Let me see the hands who know Home Sweet Home. Home Sweet Home. They had a Home Sweet Home where they had to turn that down. Who remember Dulcimina? Who remember Dulcimina? No, this is a Jamaican, sorry. Dulcimina. And the battery radio. Who remember the battery radio? That you had to turn it off. And then 6 o'clock you'll be in bed. No music, yeah, because there's no TV, there's no light. And you turn you go to bed at 6 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whenever the Dulcimina finish. And you sleep all night until in the morning. And when you get up and smell that fresh grass smell, that was the best thing. No, you guys are watching TV and you guys have to have music and the light on. And no, man, you guys are killing yourself. Yeah, you guys are killing yourself. Yeah. Yeah. So the light, we need sunshine. We need vitamin D. We are deficient in vitamin D, right? Lack of vitamin D causes cancer. We're not eating the proper food. Lack of vitamin D. All sickness. Because each cell needs vitamin D. So all sickness. All sickness. All right? Yes.
I have two things I have to let you know. The orange, in order to get the vitamin C in there, you have to have a machine to remove all those pulp inside to drink that juice. It's not the juice by himself. It's the pulp inside the orange. That's one. Another form of vitamin C, the best of the best. They call it liposomal vitamin C. Liposomal, hold on to this one. Liposomal is like this. The vitamin C, this is the vitamin C. Liposomal is like that. The vitamin C is in there, and then when it gets to your bloodstream, it opens, and you get the vitamin C. When you get those vitamin C, they sell over here. As soon as you get to your colon, finish. There is nothing you can get from it. Remember this name, liposomal vitamin C. When it gets like I explained to you already, this is a vitamin C. They put it on the cover like this. When it gets where it was to do, and you open, and the vitamin C go where it was to do. So use liposomal vitamin C, not those 1,050, whatever they sell over there. Nothing will work for you.
Eating the orange rather than juicing the orange.
If you could manage the rhyme, the best thing is to eat the entire orange like this. You get all the properties, super properties, eating everything. That's why I said that if you're, that's why I said that you blend everything, because the rhyme itself or the skin itself has also properties inside of it.
You have to see that only the skin stay in the after that everything goes to the juice. It just separate just the skin. You see the inside? That juicer get everything inside and put in the juice.
Questions? Yes. Wait.
The vitamin D that they sell in liquid form and say it's natural. What about?
No, how do we get, naturally how we get our vitamin D? When we go outside in the sun and the rays from the sun touches our skin, it turns the cholesterol under the skin into vitamin D. No, because we're not going into the sun. No, because we're not going into the sun, guess what issue we have in our cholesterol is high. You understand? Our cholesterol is high. So it's a double whammy. You're not getting the vitamin D and your cholesterol high. And then you end up have to buy these medication to get the cholesterol down. As I said, this is flaxseed, or any of the grains is good for vitamin C. What is this? D. And if what is it high in? Vitamin A and carotene. No, if I cut it across the top and show you like this, if I cut it, what does it look like if I cut it? Your eyes. So it's good for your eyes. And so if you're having eye problem, what must you be drinking? Juice. Why not eat the carrot? Huh? If you, yeah, but when you juice it, didn't they say when the machine spin too fast, it affects the cellular structure of the carrot itself? Why so much work? I just put it in your mouth and bite it and chew it up. Yeah, man. Yeah, man, just put it in your mouth. It strengthens your teeth. It also, vitamin A is good for it, the strengthening, for the bone itself. So just put it in your mouth and chew it up, man. Yes. But how much do you need? Yes. Question around the back. Yes. 1 to 3 tablespoons. You can put it in water, you can put it in porridge, you can put it in salad, you can put it in whatever you want to put it in. Any amount, cause it's gonna expand, you know. Cause remember, it won't be displaced. The fiber is gonna still be there. Even if you drink more water, the fiber is still gonna be there. Question, yes.
When you see with the carrot, even if you make carrot juice, you warm it, or even when you are cooking the carrot, it releases more beta carotene. That means when you make the juice, you need to warm it up and drink it, because it releases more beta carotene when you warm it.
Remember, if you're on a plant-based diet, the food, whatever food you eat raw, you steam it also, because you get extra nutrients from it. So for example, if I'm doing broccoli, if I eat the broccoli raw, then I will also steam the broccoli. If I'm eating the carrot raw, I'm going to steam the carrot. So I get both sides of the coin. Tomato. What is tomato good for? What is it good for? Prostate. And if I get the original tomato and cut it, what does it look like? No, no. She's banned from coming to no future presentation. It's for the individuals that no, that's all right. That is good. So the tomato is good for the heart. Now they're making tomatoes. Remember, first tomato, as you touch it, it bursts. And now the tomatoes, you can drop it and play football. And nothing happened to it. Something is wrong with that tomato. Yeah, something is wrong with that tomato. Yeah, we have to go back to nature. Now, what is this? What is it good for? Triglyceride. If your triglyceride is high, like yam, it reduces your triglyceride level. That's, I think it is, yeah. Mineral, it's rich in mineral. What is this? No, I bought this, it's tamarind. Come up here, sir, and let me squeeze some lemon in your eyes. I see you. No, tamarind is good if you want to get gallbladder. If you want because it's bitter. Anything that is sweet, bitter to the mouth is sweet to the liver. Just remember that. Anything that is bitter to the mouth is sweet to the liver. Yeah, that's what I don't understand. I grew up on eating sour tamarind. And then when I bite into these, I don't know what they did to it. It's sweet, and my mind cannot wrap itself around. Yeah, it's not right.
You know, I can believe it. I went to buy mango, and then I saw the number 3 on it. That is GMO. That was the Asian mango.
The 3, they changed the rules where depending on where it's imported, it have that 3 on it. So if you should run that information, it might tell you that it might come from Haiti or St. Lucia or Mexico. So anything that is coming from outside the United States has that 3 on it. 8 is the genetically modified. 9 is organic. But remember, what they're doing now is planting this, get it genetically modified, and then growing it organic, and then calling it organic. So you have to pray more, brothers and sisters. Yes.
You would have an 8 that is genetically modified and also organic.
Yeah.
Organically grown but genetically modified.
Yeah, they're doing that now. Um,
And then you have a line that is genetic, that is organically grown, but it just has like a small amount of pesticide on it. Oh yeah.
we have to pray more, brothers and sisters.
Put some pots in the back of your yard and plant stuff.
I have dates and blackstrap molasses. Now, which one is highest in antioxidant? Let me see the hands who say dates. Is the highest in antioxidant? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Let me see who say molasses is higher. One person. Let me see the hands who say nothing. Which one is nearer to nature? Amen. 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 So date has 300 more. It's really 1,300 antioxidant unit. Molasses has 1,000. These Israelites, you know that the Muslim, when they come out of Ramadan, or when they're going through Ramadan, this is what they eat. This is very nutritious. Very, very nutritious. They did a research, and they gave the individual dates, and they gave them a lot of dates. Because people say that it affects their glucose level, but the what they call it is low. What name? Glycemic. It's low. Index. Yeah. They found out that the individual they lost weight, and the glucose it wasn't affected by the dates. Because remember, it's close to nature and it's very high in fiber. Very high in fiber. But with everything that is good, you have to be temperate in it. No, it's natural. It's yellowed. I went to England, and I was passing, because they have the fruit outside, and I was passing and I stopped and I looked at it's a yellow fruit. And I looked at it, and it has a pungent taste, like a sour taste, and it's hard. And I said, what is that? And the gentleman said, date. So when I go to Fairway in the Bronx, it comes in yellow, ripe, and it stays there until it turns brown like that, yes. So it's naturally brown. But some of them I know they add sulfate to dry it too. Yeah, so you have to be careful what you're buying out there. Question?
I heard there's a big rave about the kombucha tea. What do you think about it? Kombucha.
No, it's the first. I know about sorrel. Who knows about sorrel? Sorrel is good for arterial hypertension. A tea in the morning is good. Sorrel. Remember back home? I used to buy sorrel when I wasn't Adventist. I used to buy sorrel and at Christmas time, and then put it in the refrigerator. So Easter I would have sorrel. Huh? No. Listen, I just drink sorrel like it is. A church sister of mine, she just boil it, add ginger to it, and I drink it like that. No sugar added. That's it. You see the taste bud, you have to train the taste bud. It's not because it's sweet and salt.
Medicine. If you want to treat cancer, use sorrel.
All right, I think I beat you guys to one more question. If you have a question, one more question. Any question? All right, that's it? Uh-huh. Yes. Yes, yes, it's orange is very good. All right, and if there's no other question, thank you. Yeah, I just asked if there was any question. You guys start asking questions. Yes. No sample. No. Well, this is from Heather Kitchen, and she needs to put it back in the kitchen so she can cook. These are displays. You can come and look, but I need them for the next church. Yeah, you can look at it. It has different grains, all the different kamut, spelt, all kind of different grains. I have all the possible nuts, which is a seed. Almond, is almond a nut or a seed? Cashew, is it a nut or a seed? Most of these nut that we call nut is really seed, you know. Yeah, but what do you plant? Not a seed? Yeah. So thank you guys for staying, brothers and sisters. I hope you have learned a lot and that you will tell someone what you have learned. If you remember something, tell someone and share it. It can be used as an opening wedge. You understand? And then you invite them to a class like this. You make sure that you have a class going, and you can invite them to a cooking class. You hear that you guys having a cooking class. When you guys having a cooking class? Next month. All right, so we're having a total genitarian cooking class, right? Genitarian, not vegetarian. Yeah, man, genitarian, going back to Genesis. Yeah, man, it's not just about eating, you know, but the 8 laws of health. Yes. Walnut? Walnut, you know, the king? Walnut is not the king, you know. You know who is the king? You know, it's good for the heart. Yeah, it's good for the heart. No, almond is the king of all nuts. Yeah, when you look at the nutrition value of almond, it's all over here. Almond. They found out that people who eat a lot of nuts and grains, they live long. They live long and healthy. Right? Oh, it's strong like a ox. All right. All right, thank you. Yes?
I want to say something very important for a lot of people over here. Probably you don't know. Nicole, I'm talking. All right, so in the kitchen, there is a killer right there in the kitchen. A lot of people don't understand that. The foil paper. I know you don't live in your kitchen, but I see it. I see. I'm telling you, what the problem is that when you get older, all these things you're doing, you see your hand is like that. You're wondering why it's like this, it's crumbling. That's the for aluminum paper. If or destroy your life. Parkinson's disease, Alzheimer's disease, like that. Oh, I'm glad. I want to talk about this. Let me say something about you, my friends and my sister and brother. We've been eating wrong since I don't know, right? So what do you think all those wrong things stay? They stay in your body, right? There's 2 things you can do. You can clean your colon, you take out those things, but it's not that enough. There is something called detox. Your lymph system, when it's not clean, it's like a sewer. When it's not clean, it goes to your kidney, and the kidney cannot do the thing it has to do because it's too dirty. So what happens? It gets back to you, give you all type of disease. You hear about that. If you can, my friend, are you listening to me? detox your body all the time, because all the toxin in your body you will never get out if you don't detox it. So a lot of people have kidney problem. What do you think they have kidney problem? A lot of toxin in their body. The lymph system cannot clean them because you put stuff in your body to destroy you. So remove them, my friend. God asks my people is like dying for lack of knowledge. Get some knowledge, use it. Don't play with your health. The play with your, yesterday I have a friend of mine just passed away. Maybe I will tell over here. They call it Jacques Francois. He's an Asian. You heard that? That's yesterday morning. He fell off. He has so many injuries in the mind before. He fell up and then he died. So you don't know life, right? Life is, you're here today talking and tomorrow you'll never know. So why don't you change your body? It's not the taste of the food. It's what you put in there, who you are. If you put junk in there, you're going to be a junk. I'm right? Okay, so change your life. If you cannot ask God to help you to change, don't eat meat, don't eat fish. If I show you video on meat and fish, how they make it, and then they'll right there on the market for you to buy. Fish and meat. Fish. If you go to the market to buy those fish, you will never know it's not fish. It looks like fish, it's string like fish, but it's not fish. They made it. There is right there in Manhattan, there's a restaurant. There is a big restaurant. It's on glass, right? It's on glass. So the tables are on glass, all computerized. You look at the glass and you see a lot of fishes going like every fish has a number in it. Every fish has a number. You go to that's your table, you pinpoint 233. That's 232 you call. In a few seconds, he asks you what do you need. I mean, the table has electronic stuff in there. You see the rice, beans, whatever, you click on it. In a few seconds, there is a tray goes in front of you and stop by the 233 and the beans and the rice. So what do you think those fish came from? Yeah, why they're in Manhattan? They live there. You don't see anybody. It's just your computer there. You see that the fish you see over here on that. You just press the number there, and then the question is, what do you need it with it? Peas, right. Whatever in that guy you click on, they sell it to you.
Okay, Brother Francois, we have to close out now. Brethren, has the day been a wonderful day for you? Has the information been satisfying or overwhelming? Satisfying, wonderful. At this time, we're going to bring Sister Turner up and ask her that she can take over the program from here. She wants to close out. It'll be up to her. After the sunset, we will have some natural remedy books available and also charcoal available after sunset. All right. So we want to thank you from my wife and I for the opportunity of coming here, and we want to turn it over to Sister Turner.
Thank you. I'm looking for my husband. I just want to extend my gratitude. Somebody went to get him. To Elder and Sister McBride. We appreciate them coming. The information that you gave us today. It is my prayer that we will all apply it to our lives. You know, so many things are happening. We don't know what's happening with the food that we're eating. So let us dedicate ourselves to reading our food labels. When we go shopping, let us read our labels carefully so that we can see what we're putting in our bodies. This is serious. Okay? So I'm going to hand it over to the pastor.
Okay, we're closing out. How many have been blessed today? We have learned a lot. Amen? We have heard a lot. And now we're going to ask the Lord to help us to apply this to our lives. Amen? to let it become